For me, I think that you telling me to do something doesn't have any credibility unless I see you utilizing it and then showing me examples of how this has worked and how it's really helped you develop your business.
With real estate and online lead generation, it's like me, myself, we're all spending money on lead generation, and it's a big gamble.
Yeah.
And I can't figure out why I did it, but I'm so thankful I did.
So the first question I ask myself from a high level is, what is our anticipated need going to look like? And what am I promising to the people that they're coming in? And then for us, it's just staying ahead of it and figuring out how to fill that bench. It's just like working with the lead. It's having people way down here in your pipeline and your recruiting of just starting relationships and watching them in the business, or if they're newer, or maybe they're super amazing agents. They've been doing this for 20 years, but you'd really love to partner with them. So you're just building relationships. Then it's that mid-level part of the funnel where maybe you're in some dialogue about what that might look like, or dreaming together. And then of course, the entry part of bringing people in. And so for us, it always starts with what's our need and what can we promise these people if we're going to bring them in anyway.
For 1 month, I'm working 5 hours a week, then they up it to 10, then we double it the month after that to 20. And then the big day came where they offered me a full-time position. And I had to make a decision at that point. Am I gonna decrease my role in my real estate team and actually put all my chips in this company? And I remember with Shark Tank, the sharks always say, you don't invest in a product, you invest in people. That was that once in a lifetime moment that you can latch on to something. And to say it's been rewarding is an understatement. You know, I've been teaching the same thing for 5 years, and I turned it into a book. That's now, I think, at 7,500 copies sold this year with no advertising. And that's been the most rewarding thing I've ever been a part of, is writing that book.
It's focus. And you know what you need right now? You need a lot of that to get through what we're about to get into. You're so distracted. You know, my friend says, Tristan, do me a favor, whatever you do, be where your shoes are. I'm like, oh, that's easy to remember. Be where your shoes are. If you're with your kids, they need you 100%. They don't need 50% of you. If you're with your clients, they need 100% of you. Stop checking your damn phone. If you're here to learn, why the hell are you on social media right now? You're only doing a disservice to yourself. You're half-assing this, great, you get half-assed results. And then you wonder why. Adaptation is the key to growth. Consistent adapting through your whole life. It's the key to success, because adapting allows you to tweak the things that aren't working. You only fail when you don't continually adapt.
For me, I think that you telling me to do something doesn't have any credibility unless I see you utilizing it and then showing me examples of how this has worked and how it's really helped you develop your business.
With real estate and online lead generation, it's like me, myself, we're all spending money on lead generation, and it's a big gamble.
Yeah.
And I can't figure out why I did it, but I'm so thankful I did.
So the first question I ask myself from a high level is, what is our anticipated need going to look like? And what am I promising to the people that they're coming in? And then for us, it's just staying ahead of it and figuring out how to fill that bench. It's just like working with the leads. It's having people way down here in your pipeline on your recruiting of just starting relationships and watching them in the business, or if they're newer, or maybe they're super amazing agents. They've been doing this for 20 years, but you'd really love to partner with them. So you're just building relationships. Then it's that mid-level part of the funnel where maybe you're in some dialogue about what that might look like or dreaming together. And then of course the entry part of bringing people in. And so for us, it always starts with what's our need and what can we promise these people if we're going to bring them in anyway.
For 1 month, I'm working 5 hours a week, then they up it to 10, then we double it the month after that to 20. And then the big day came where they offered me a full-time position. And I had to make a decision at that point. Am I gonna decrease my role in my real estate team and actually like put all my chips in this company? And I remember with Shark Tank, the sharks always say, you don't invest in a product, you invest in people. That was that once in a lifetime moment that you can latch on to something. And to say it's been rewarding is an understatement. You know, I've been teaching the same thing for 5 years and I turned it into a book. That's now, I think, at 7,500 copies sold this year with no advertising. And that's been the most rewarding thing I've ever been a part of, is writing that book.
It's focus. And you know what you need right now? You need a lot of that to get through what we're about to get into. You're so distracted. You know, my friend says, Tristan, do me a favor. Whatever you do, be where your shoes are. I'm like, oh, that's easy to remember. Be where your shoes are. If you're with your kids, they need you 100%. They don't need 50% of you. If you're with your clients, they need 100% of you. Stop checking your damn phone. If you're here to learn, why the hell are you on social media right now? You're only doing a disservice to yourself. You're half-assing this, great. You get half-assed results. And then you wonder why. Adaptation is the key to growth. Consistent adapting through your whole life. It's the key to success, because adapting allows you to tweak the things that aren't working. You only fail when you don't continually adapt.
For me, I think that you telling me to do something doesn't have any credibility unless I see you utilizing it and then showing me examples of how this has worked and how it's really helped you develop your business.
With real estate and online lead generation, it's like me, myself, we're all spending money on lead generation, and it's a big gamble.
Yeah.
And I can't figure out why I did it, but I'm so thankful I did.
So the first question I ask myself from a high level is, what is our anticipated need going to look like? And what am I promising to the people that they're coming in? And then for us, it's just staying ahead of it and figuring out how to fill that bench. It's just like working with the leads. It's having people in your pipeline on your recruiting of just starting relationships and watching them in the business, or if they're newer, or maybe they're super been doing this for 20 years, but you'd really love to partner with them. So you're just building relationships. Then it's that mid-level part of the funnel where maybe you're in some dialogue about what that might look like or dreaming together. And then of course the entry part of bringing people in. And so for us, it always starts with what's our need and what can we promise these people if we're going to bring them in anyway.
1 month, I'm working 5 hours a week. Then they up it to 10. Then we double it the month after that to 20. And then the big day came where they offered me a full-time position. And I had to make a decision at that point. Am I gonna decrease my role in my real estate team and actually like
and how your market is doing. Is it up? Is it down? Is it in the middle? I want to know. I'll tell you, ours in Southern California, as we're waiting for people to come in, it's hot. Who would have known? Crazy. Market is going crazy here. I know there are parts of the US, specifically Texas and Florida, some of those areas are suffering a little bit. But look, it's all regional. There's business in every market. Let's see what we've got. Houston, Nashville, nice. I love Nashville. DC, I love DC. Elise, Lake Elsinore, I just had a referral. A friend of mine sent it over to an agent there. She just closed it. I love Lake Elsinore. Tennessee. Okay, Alan. D-Land, Florida, a little slower, but still Florida crazy. Yeah, I like that. Good. All right, everyone, let's get started. This is being recorded. Vendora got you. Minnesota, very good. If you have questions, just put them in the chat. I'll be taking a look at it. I'm really good at multitasking. And if you have questions, put it in the chat, put them in the Q&A. This is a 3-hour session. I'm going to get started first. We're going to bring in Barry Jenkins, then Gary Ashton, and then we've got a surprise guest because Mike Hoden couldn't make it. He's in Italy celebrating, having fun for the summer, but we've got somebody who is absolutely amazing from Florida, also an amazing producer. And today I'm drinking some cold coffee, Azucena, because I had to wake up in the middle of the night freaking out, realizing that my daughter is getting a job at Target. I don't know why I woke up in the middle of the night for that, but I did. Joe, St. Louis, Pasadena. All right, remember, this is for teams, for brokerages. I've run a team since 2008, and we've produced a lot in the Southern California areas. In fact, all throughout California, I've expanded to Hawaii and different states. And then I also helped run a brokerage for a very long time, brokerage of about 400 people. And then I let that one go and then left, went to a different brokerage. But I do have a lot of experience in that. And we also coach this whole thing, 3-hour sessions brought to you by a brilliant tribe, where we have group coaching for independent brokerages and teams, which will bring it up in a little bit. James, they do grow up fast, man. It's a little crazy. And I first want to remind you that everything that we're doing in real estate right now, I feel like we're in a mix. People are coming at me and saying, hey, Tristan, we're actually a little concerned. We're scared. We don't know what's going to happen next. And what I'm noticing is that not only are individual agents, but team members and people that belong to brokerages, they're looking for solutions. They're looking for certainty when we have a lot of uncertainty with what's happening with the NAR, especially now that the Department of Justice just said, 2 days ago now, they're going to step in and say, hey guys, we are going to let you know how this is all going to work. And it's going to happen on June 25th. That's when we're going to step in and tell you what the norm is going to be, right? Which is crazy that they stepped in, which is what we predicted too. So with that, I want to start off by giving you 6 things that you, as a leader, as an independent brokerage, as the broker, as the team leader, 6 things that you need to focus on in growing and being present, successfully present with your team. Alexander, I'm not sure if it's just on your end. Everyone else, can you hear me? Mic clear? Sound wise, just so we can help Alexander out. Awesome. Very good. Alex, it's on your end. Number 1, it always comes down to leadership, doesn't it? Like, how do you show up daily? How are you showing up today? For you, just for you. Forget about everyone else right now. Because what I've noticed is if I'm not showing up best for myself, I'm dropping the ball when it comes to those people that I want to help. Whether it's just my family, whether it's a team, whether it's a brokerage, whatever it is. And I can tell you right now, you're not focusing enough on you when it comes down to leadership. When it comes down to soft skills, when it comes down to hard skills, this is why I still prospect. I prospect live on Thursdays, just in case I don't get to during the week. I'm like, I need to work on my hard skills as well. You need to continually be learning. You need to continually be challenging yourself and putting yourself in situations that make you feel a little uncomfortable. And I know a lot of us are forced into these situations like we are right now with NAR, but you've got to push yourself a little bit more, because I know one thing about real estate agents, because I've been one for 20 years, we're scrappy. Like, put us anywhere and we adapt. That's the difference. We make things happen. You make things happen. But somewhere along the line, we get comfortable and we forget that things are always changing and that that's okay and that we're built for this. We're built for what's happening. This is where opportunities lie, right here in transition. But you've got to take care of yourself. You've got to take care of yourself every morning, every evening. Yes, there are days you fall off, but get back on, because other people are relying on you. Other people are looking to see what you do so they know what to do. And it's your responsibility, it's your duty to lead. And sometimes we forget that. It's your duty to continually be uncomfortable so that others can be comfortable. You're okay in uncertainty. That's what you're built for. Someone needs to talk to you this way and say, hey, you right here, right now, you are not doing enough. You're not doing enough. You've got what it takes, because you've gotten here so far. I see you. But you're just not doing enough. And it starts with you. It starts with you taking action, even if it's small action. That's what leadership looks like. Showing up every day, not knowing what you're going to do, finding out how to do it. This is the scrappy part, right? You go to Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger. He just passed away a few months ago. Charlie and Warren are like, you know why we love real estate agents? Because they're scrappy. They're going to figure stuff out no matter what happens. And we do. We figure things out. So when it comes to leadership, I need you to prioritize that. I need you to continually be learning. I need you to continually be checking in on yourself. How often are you checking in on how you're doing? How are you doing emotionally? And be real with yourself. Because if you're breaking and falling apart inside, other people can see it. You've got to take time for you. This business isn't easy. We have to show up for other people continually. But first, you have to show up for yourself so that you can show up and scale and grow. Because this market that we're in right now, huge opportunity. In change, in transition, you find the biggest opportunity in every type of vertical. This is the real estate vertical. We're in transition, we're in change. This is what we talk about weekly, monthly in our sessions. So, leadership, that's up to you because people are looking for you. And leadership doesn't just mean working on yourself, it means having the knowledge to understand and to relate to your agents what's happening and to your clients. You know how many people blasted me for going on YouTube and speaking out and saying, hey, consumer, this is what's going on in the real estate world. You need to know. And this is how we're going to handle it as far as we know. Don't stay quiet. You are the voice to the industry. You're the leaders. Leadership doesn't come from the top down in this world. It comes from the bottom and the middle up. It always has. And when stuff's happening around you with NAR, with your local MLSs, with your regions, you are the voice. People are looking to see, well, what's happening in real estate? One of the best conversations you can have with your clients, with your core sphere, is picking up the phone and calling them and saying, hey, what do you think about the real estate world right now? And then listen, just shut up and listen. And they're going to ask you, well, what do you think? And that's a key moment to connect. Well, agents don't know what's happening. I've talked to agents still that have no idea what's happening. And that's not a good place to be. So you have a responsibility to understand what the hell is happening in the real estate world. That's part of leadership. You have no excuse. Number two, when you're looking at this as running a team, running a brokerage, you have the responsibility to provide the right technology. Like, what is this? What am I running? What am I running it with? I'll give you a short glimpse into a PDF that we just finished outlining yesterday. Christina, you get access to the recording. In fact, and I answered that live. We're running a group coaching discount, which I'll put into the chat. But yes, group coaching for teams and brokerages. Everyone that's part of that gets a copy of this along with any of the PDFs that I'm about to show. Technology is extremely important in our industry. In fact, it's so important, some brokerages have gone out and said, we are a tech company now, right? Was that a smart move? I don't know, right? I don't know that I would have done it that way. I think we're more of a marketing company, branding company, more along the lines of Seth Godin. This is marketing. We attract, right? We grow. But some people have gone out and said, we're tech forward, and there's nothing wrong with that. And this right here is something we pieced together where it shows some of the things. This is for Tristan Associates, or our team brokerage. Lead source. These are some of our lead sources. So you can see the tech, and this is some of the tech that we use that are not lead source really, but the tech that we use that we provide for our teams. And we outline this so that people understand what we have to offer. And sometimes it reminds us of what we have. Like if you're looking at tech and you know how to use it, more importantly, the people that come through, the people that are in your team, the people that are in your brokerage will appreciate you more because you know how to use tech and they feel like you're moving them forward. In fact, it makes them feel like they're going in the right direction because you've got the right technology, right? So if you look at something like this, I'm going to just go and share something with you. Freddie, yeah, you can get a copy of this, buddy. You're already in coaching, my friend. I got you. Take a look at this. For example, we go into gamma.app and we demonstrate this to our agents and said, hey, agents, This is how easy it is to create a buyer presentation, a listing presentation, anything you like, right? It's the knowledge of knowing that the technology is right in front of you and you've got to be able to see it. So it says generate. What would I like to generate? A presentation, a website, or a document? Let's just go for a presentation. Describe what I would like to make. I'd like to make a buyer, home buyer presentation for a real estate agent. Let's see what pops up. It's going to generate and say, are these good, Tristan? I'm like, you know what? That looks good. Let's just go with that looks good and let's make no changes. So I'm looking at tech. Now it says, well, Tristan, do you like this? Do you like the way this one looks? I'm like, you know what? Let's go a little bit lighter. That's too dark for me. Now I'll generate it. And it'll simply generate it in about 30 seconds or less. It'll start populating the words, the pictures. And then the agents on the team and the brokerage are like, thank you for showing me this. Thank you for testing this out. Thank you for being tech forward. Thank you for understanding that you're making my life easier. And obviously we can go through this and change this up, right? But the ability for you to be able to do that, it garners confidence that they're in the right team, that they're in the right brokerage, that they're with the right leadership. Your responsibility is to continually test things out. It's not just to show up and hope people around you figure it out. That's the biggest difference I've seen in leadership. Leadership doesn't wait around. Leadership takes the initiative and says, how does this work? What's next? Where's the opportunity in this? So you have to shift your mindset when you look at things coming at you fast. And your priorities have to be in place so that you understand what the opportunity looks like for you. And in fact, we have something that I'd like to challenge you to do, something similar. We call it iSpark, and we recently added one piece to this, and I'm going to show this to you because I would love for you to create something similar for your organization, for your team, for your brokerage, for your businesses. Because I know a lot of you have different businesses here. I weigh a lot of the decisions that I make based on this. In fact, this is how a lot of the times we move forward. And it's our principles. And I put them together initially based on how I function as a human and how I've morphed over the years, how I've changed, and how we work together. And I put it into an acronym so that I could remember it. And then obviously other people remember it too, but innovation, systems, people first, awareness, adaptability, we just added that one, resilience, kindness. And we would have put kindness first, but we couldn't figure out a good acronym to start with a K. We're like, this doesn't work. So again, going back to you, see the difference between good leadership and great leadership. And this goes to Jim Collins. Jim Collins in the book Good to Great. This is a fifth level leadership. They lead by example, and they're humble about it. There's a fourth place right there. Not as good as fifth. See, fourth leads the way and talks about it and shows their ego and pride. There's nothing wrong with that. But it's not the highest form of leadership. The highest form of leadership is a servant leader. One that doesn't lead with pride, one that doesn't lead with ego, because they understand the importance of the team, of the community. People first. Now ask yourself, do you lead that way? Are people attracted to you because they feel like they're in the right place with the right people, being offered the right opportunities in a changing world? It's a good question to ask, because then it could set you in a better direction. And I'll give you a quick link really quick, just so you can see what we offer. If you are interested, we're running that sale today for group coaching. We're only running it today for that price, and that's $8.99 for a month, where you get some group sessions for teams and brokers with me and some leaders in the industry that have done this at a high level in all different forms. By the way, we're bringing them in a little bit. I just want to go through these principles first, of this core idea of being a leader, and I want to emphasize that the technology you bring on, the technology that you're currently focused in or using, is really important to agents. But more important, they need to know how to use it. They need to know why it makes a difference. They need to know what's so good about this and how is it helping our clients. That's number two. Number three, marketing. Man, marketing has changed a lot since I've been in real estate. I remember coming in and there was no social media. So I had the opportunity of watching the whole world turn around with social in real estate, and seeing it become one of the biggest opportunities ever. I mean, I built lab coat agents based on social, right, in the group. And when I came in, marketing was a flyer. Marketing was the for sale sign. Marketing happened in newspapers. Who remembers, and I don't know if you're as old as me, but who remembers the penny saver and the local newspaper ads on real estate? It's like, hey, we've got this property sold, or we've got this property for sale. Who remembers the penny saver? I don't even know if it was around in your area. The penny saver was the thing. Let me tell you. I remember that. And it was expensive to market there, man. It was like, it wasn't cheap. And the newspapers, they're not cheap. Yeah, there you go. Remember the MLS books too? We had to print those out. I'm like, this is crazy. Like within about 4 years, when I jumped in, everything changed. DocuSign, everything went digital, including the CRMs that we were using. I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I came in at the right time. Social media blew up. Marketing, regardless of if it was then or now, still comes down to one thing. It comes down to attraction. And right now you have still one of the biggest opportunities in marketing that we've ever had, because it's free. You look at the 5 most visited websites in the world, Google's number one, offers a lot of free ways to attract people, and obviously paid ways. But then number 2 through 5, they're all free. YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, X, those are all free. And it's part of marketing. In fact, it should be a prospecting arm. And you should be the ones teaching and leading the way, showing agents, showing your people how this all works, where you start, how to do this. Again, you're the leader. You lead by example. You lead by actually doing it and learning it. You live in the dirt and you live in the clouds. That's the biggest difference between a great leader and an okay leader. You've got to outline and say, well, marketing, what does marketing look like right now for you? Where are your holes? Where are your opportunities? And if you're on Facebook and you want to go further, outline what that looks like. What does that look like? I've got this book, by the way. I'm going to give one of these copies away, probably 3 of these copies away. So randomly to one of you or to 3 of you at the end of each session. So at the end of my session, I'll probably ask a question. And if you don't have this already, or if you do, I'll send it over to you anyway, and I'll sign it. There are some great ideas in that you're going to need as well. Nick Vargo, yeah, that's it, man. You've got to be practicing. You're going to be left behind. I watch it happen every single time because you're not practicing. This is why I still make calls. This is why I still go to presentations, buyer and seller. This is why I still go to broker opens. This is why I still talk to buyers and sellers. This is why I still convert online leads, people that come to me in open houses. This is why I'm still in it. Because there's a big difference in people talking about it and people doing it. And you know the difference. There's a nuance. Cultures change. People change. We're in a different world. Just look out right now in the news. How many people don't understand what real estate agents do and how much hate there is towards real estate agents? There's love, but there's certainly a lot of hate. And what are you doing in marketing right now to attract those people that like us, that need us? What are we doing? What does our new buyer presentation look like? What does our listing presentation look like? What are the conversations we're going to be having? How can people benefit from hiring you? What do you bring to the table? This is all the stuff that falls on us as leaders to show, to demonstrate. You've got to have an outline of what this looks like. And it's okay to figure it out along the way. I think a lot of us figure, well, we've got to have all of this figured out every single time. No, we don't. We can figure it out along the way. And that's why we're here too, right? We do it in a group setting where we're helping you. You're with other amazing teams, and we're bringing this to the table for you. Now, the other piece that you've got to work on, besides marketing, besides tech, besides you and leadership, right? Those three things. You've got to coach. You're like a mentor. You've got to be there for them. They're going to have questions. You're going to have to guide them. People always need guidance, especially when things happen that are harder. You know how many agents haven't been through a market like we're in right now? A lot. And they don't know what to do. And it's going to get a little tougher. And they're going to look for you. In fact, your clients are looking for you to see what you're doing next. And it's your opportunity to coach them, to coach the people that you lead. But sometimes we don't know where to start when it comes to coaching people, right? And so I'll show you something that we created. It'll give you an idea. So at least you know where to start. One of the things that we do, let me see if I can share this. It's on my iPad via cable. Let's see if we got this. Allow. Can you all see my screen? It says your journey to success starts here. Just give it to me in the chat. Give me a yes. Got it. All right. So this is one of the things that we do with our new agents. I've filled this out because I just filled it out recently, and I left it open so you could see. When we have an agent that's a little bit lost, that maybe is new, what we do is we go through this and I say, hey, let's take inventory. I want to know, what do you want to accomplish this year? How old are you, right? Let's go with the average age of the real estate agent. I put 57. A year from now, how old will you be? And let's go through some things. Where would you like to be a year from now? Personal. Where would you like to be? Business. And I have some questions here that they fill out. And then what we do on the right, on this side, is they take small action steps towards these. Because I can tell you one thing, I'll come right back to this. One thing is very clear. Your personal and your business is intertwined. In this business, you can't separate them. If you're doing crappy at home, it's going to show at work. If you're doing crappy at work, it's going to show at home. You've got to be able to understand yourself better so you can cope with it, so you can transition, so you get along with people. I'm always thinking, how am I making people feel when they're around me? And if I don't have clarity about where I'm going or who I am, it gets lost along the way. And I think a lot of us get lost along that way. So let me share again. So we take them through this, taking inventory. We do a longer one, 5 to 10 years as well. It's important to understand how old will you be as well, right? So we took that average age, and now we make that clear as well. Once we get that going, we keep going and say, okay, well, let's pick two of those things. Let's pick one that's specific to your business. Let's pick one that's specific to your family. For this person, they wanted to make 200,000 a year, and their family, specifically their mother, is important, and they wanted to do a better job in connecting with the mother. We took the business goal one, right there, check that off. We put this in what we call the process, and then we outlined it together. We're like, earn 200,000, look at the top line, earn 200,000 in 12 months, primarily from my database. Why? Why is this important? Well, they've got a chip on their shoulders. I love chip on shoulders. Who's got a chip on their shoulder? I do. I think I have multiple chips on my shoulder. Like, what do I have to prove? Who do I have to prove wrong again and again? And do you have a chip on your shoulder? Raise your hand. I want to know. I've got multiple chips, and there's nothing wrong with it. It pushes you. It pushes you. Sometimes we need that invisible push, right? I like it when people say crap to me. It's like, oh yeah, hold on, hold my beer. And I don't even drink. Hold my beer. Let me go back. Why? Write it out. The problem we're solving, not the case all the time, because we use this for businesses as well that we help consult and coach. And then we break it down together so they can identify what their database looks like. In this case, their database, right? First, their main database, their CRM. Next, community that they live in. And then last one, social media. And we make a plan. And then we get specific. See, they take 3 actions on, let me click on that. They take 3 actions. Let me choose a different color. Let's choose green. You see here under database right there, they're going to choose these 3 things right there. And they do the same thing in community, and they do the same thing on social. And then once that happens, guess what? They put it on a calendar. Because if you don't put it on a calendar, if you don't put it on your schedule, it's just a dream. It never happens. We watch this happen over and over and over again. The key is you've got to take small action steps. You've got to take something towards the direction you want to get to. But a lot of the times we get stuck wishing for something, maybe taking 1 or 2 action steps towards it. And guess what happens? You're all with me on this, because I do it sometimes too. I get sidetracked because I see a squirrel over here and a squirrel over here. And I'm like, oh, that brokerage is doing really good. I wonder if it's because of their tech. Man, I gotta check that out. I gotta buy that. That looks cool over there. I bet you that'll solve my problem. But no, it won't. This business, like almost anything else, it comes down to hard work. Now, a lot of people will tell you that. They'll be like, no, I've got the solution for you. Just a second. It's hard work. It takes a lot of time, a lot of hard work, headaches, sadness, anger, fear, anxiety, stress. All of that is part of your success. The good thing is you learn how to manage it along the way. You get harder. You get tougher. See, that's the part that people miss when they haven't been in the business and they're telling you what to do. I've had some massive failures, and I'm sure you have too. But we're still here, which means we have another shot at this, which means we can take the opportunity that's coming right at us and succeed through this market, through any market. Because my job, your job, is to help those people that are looking for help. That's part of the coaching piece, right? When you're looking at your team, when you're looking at your organization, when you're just looking at yourself, and it comes down to that, what are you doing on a daily basis to help those people around you? That's coaching. Next is staff. If you've got a team, if you've got a brokerage, staff is really important. The staff has to be there to support the overall vision, the overall goal of where you want to go. And I look for in staff, I look for character. I look for kindness. I look for being able to work together. But more important to me, most of all, is being able to lead with kindness, because we're already in a stressful environment. We're already in a place where there are a lot of emotions that are high. And to be able to keep calm, to be able to get along with others is extremely important, because it makes my work, it makes your work easier. And no one wants to deal with an asshole. So for us, staff, it's very important that we bring no drama to the table. And for you, think about it. When you're hiring people, look for character. Fortunately, you can't teach character. People have to develop it over a long period of time. Some people develop it sooner than others. And then the last piece to this, the sixth piece, why teams continue to grow, why brokerages continue to grow, is because the people that are involved with the brokerage, those agents, they see opportunity. They're like, you know what? I feel good here because I see that there's an opportunity for growth. You give me hope. I feel like I'm in the right place because you guys are doing all the right things and moving in the right direction. They see opportunity. Think about it like this with your team or your brokerage. It's like you're an employer. Let's say it's Apple, and you're with Apple and you're like, this is a great place to work, man. So much opportunity. This is amazing. But then imagine you're not with Apple. You're with a company that's failing and dying. How do you feel then? That's what a lot of agents feel. They feel lost. They feel confused. They feel like they're in the wrong place. I don't want that environment. You shouldn't provide that environment. You should look internally and say, what am I providing right now for the agents that are with me? How am I giving them hope? How am I giving them opportunity for growth? How am I challenging them? Trisha, chaos. I like it. Look, chaos is great too. It teaches you some amazing things. Controlled chaos, right? Or being great at adapting to chaos. One of the great things about real estate agents, teams, brokerages, again, we're scrappy, right? We adapt. And here's the key piece. The key piece to this is as we move, and if you've been in some of these, you know what I'm about to say. As we move closer to becoming like the Jetsons, first of all, who remembers the Jetsons? I was like a tiny little kid when I watched the Jetsons first, but I think I was watching reruns because I don't know how old the Jetsons are. Who remembers the Jetsons? I need a yes or a no. Or it's like, what the hell are the Jetsons? Rosie, somebody remembers the Jetsons, Don. I like that. Good, good, good. All right. So you know the Jetsons. I love the Jetsons. As we move closer to becoming like the Jetsons, those people, those companies, those teams, those brokerages that function more like the Flintstones are going to win. Why? Because this is a relationship-based business. People love to connect with other people. You need to slow down to connect with people. You don't need to speed up. Surprise. As much tech as we have, which we have a lot, and we love AI, and we love everything that Apple is doing with the iPhone. If you haven't watched that update, you've got to watch that. It's the people that function with relationship-based mindset that are going to win. Those people that are slow to connect, meaning they're slowing down to connect, not slow to connect like, man, I suck at follow-up. The meetings are more purposeful. The connections are sincere. That's who's going to win. But you've got to have your stuff together. Like, what do you stand for? What are your values? What's your goal with your team? With your brokerage? Where are you headed? How are you going to adapt in this new world? And let me break something to you, but it's not a surprise to most of you. We're always changing. You always have to reinvent yourself. I've been in this business for only 20 years, and I can tell you I've reinvented myself. I feel like it's every 3 years. Like, wait, that's not working anymore. Let me try something new. Wait a second. That's not working the same anymore. Now we've got to try something else. But remember, it's your responsibility to continually test things out and see what is working and what isn't. That's what makes you a leader. Sure, there's fear of failure. Sure, there's the fear that we're not going to make it, the fear that something's going to go wrong. But that's part of it. That's what keeps you sharp. That's what keeps you going in the right direction, right? So as we're moving forward, I want to know right now in the chat, chat it up, okay? Here we go. I have a question for you. What is your biggest challenge right now? What is your number one biggest challenge in the industry, in your business? What is it? I want to know. Give it to me right now. It can be a sentence. It could be a word. I don't care. Put it in the chat. Let's see what we've got. We've got Steve. Consistency of my team's agents. Steve, we help with that for sure. You've got to jump into group coaching. Terry, getting my team to prospect. Terry, I love that. In fact, I had that problem a while ago, and that's why I prospect live on Thursdays with our group coaching. You literally sit down and you have an option to, you can listen to me and watch me because I take you through the whole process and I prospect live our whole database. Or you can just chill back and have them watch and gain the confidence. And they're like, oh, that was easy. That's how you do it. So Terry, you've got to watch that. Katrina Systems. That's probably the number one thing I hear after prospecting. Very one. Katrina, can you expand on what you mean by systems? Systems meaning onboarding, systems meaning how to process certain transaction systems for what? Just so I have clarity. Teresa, motivate my agents. Teresa, that makes sense. Motivation's like taking a shower, right? You've got to do it daily almost. Well, some people do it weekly, but you know what I mean, Teresa. Ruth, connecting with agents. Ruth, that actually is common. I think what happens here's the part that sometimes we miss in that. And this is why I stay active in the real estate world. Sometimes there's a disconnect because some brokers or some team leaders are no longer practicing, and that's the disconnect. The closer you get, again, to doing some type of real estate activity that involves you in the dirt, as what they call it, in the dirt, right? Doing in the weeds. There's another greater connection. I always bring that back to look at Napoleon, right? Like him or not, dead, right? Napoleon Bonaparte, if you're wondering who I'm talking about. He was at the forefront. He was always leading, and his people that were following him loved that he was always pushing forward, and he led by example. Sometimes that's why we don't have the connection. Matt, too many chips on the shoulder coming down at once. Matt, I think this is where you're going to have to outline what your priorities are. What are they? Because we all have chips falling. We all have things coming at us fast. This is the world we live in. And the priorities allow you to take in the right ones so you know that you're going in the right direction. So you need a lot more clarity, Matthew. You need clarity as to what you want to do. You're going to have to say, I'm going to have regrets. Which regrets am I okay with? Right? Regrets because you're not going to take this opportunity, you're not going to take this one, but you are going to take this one. Clarity. You need clarity. And we're bringing in group coaching. Matt, come on, Matt. Dude, you need to jump into group coaching. We've been friends for such a long time. JC Higgs, social media marketing. JC, that is a good one. In fact, we've broken it down multiple times. We have a whole social media outline. JC, when it comes to social media marketing, are you looking more for organic or paid? Or what are you looking for? And what channel? I'd like to get more clarity on that. Daniel, work ethic of others. I don't know that I can help with that, dude. Daniel, I think you need to hire better. That's why I went down to character, right? You've got to hire people. You can't teach that, man. You can't teach that. You gotta have to have you have to have like a 90-day onboarding plan. That's a good one. Don, bringing a young 20 new agent onto my team and blending what I know works when he wants to try. Don, I've got something for you. That's a very good one here. Let me pop something up for you here on my screen. We get a lot of young agents on our team and our brokerage, and I always start with this. So everyone listening in on teams and brokers, you're going to get younger and younger agents because remember the average age of a real estate agent is 56, 57. And a little over 60% of them are female, right? So that number should decrease over the next years as far as the age. So we'll probably see it lower in the 50s, maybe high 40s, who knows? But you're going to get younger and younger, which is great, right? You're giving everyone the opportunity, right? It's awesome. It's no longer going to be second career, maybe even a first career. And we find that the young people have a disconnect with the older generation of real estate agents because we try to tell them what to do based on our experience instead of meeting them where they're at with their skills. So one of the things that we do is ask, what are you great at? Right? We kind of go through this whole process. Let's find your strengths. And now let's match it to something in this world that we know works. And we simply start with something like this. Let me share this with you. We simply start with something called the Daily Jumpstart. And we've narrowed it down to important things that are relevant to us creating relationships. Remember, as we move closer to becoming like the Jetsons, those who function like the Flintstones are going to win. And this takes the best of both worlds. So you look at 520-111. Very first one is a 5 text call 5 people you know that you haven't talked to in 60 days. Good. So first off, that 20-year-old probably is in an age bracket that they have friends that are not going to be purchasing anytime soon. So they usually have parents or other maybe siblings that have friends. So these calls may look a little different. Engage 20 minutes on social. You can make a large attraction on social media, right? So we add that piece there because social media has become a prospecting arm for a lot of you. And then over here, posting one thoughtful or engaging post in social. This is super easy to do. You need to do this daily. That's what you need to do. Meet one new person daily and engage with them. Tristan, a lot of people are like, Tristan, how the hell do I meet one new person? I'm like, what? Was that a real question? How do you meet somebody new? No. And then over here, send one handwritten note to someone you talked to yesterday or just someone you haven't talked to in a little bit. For us, that really helps get people moving in the right direction, especially as they're getting started when everything is coming at them saying, okay, where do I start? Where do I start, right? So that can definitely help, Don. Marge, getting tech and leads. Yep, we've got that solution as well. Marge, jump into group coaching. That'll be amazing for you. We go over that and go over very great specifics. Bree, getting good leads. Bree, good leads. I'm assuming you mean leads that are qualified to either sell or to purchase in the next probably what 3 to 6 months. I'm assuming that's right. Let me know about that one. Katira, consistently calling on my database. Katira, that's a challenge, and I think you need to break it down into one of my friends. I don't know if she's on here, Elena. We created something just off of we were texting back and forth, and I'm like, what are your priorities? And she outlined them, and there were 5 things. And one of those was consistently calling on the database. So what we simply did is we call it Elena's 5. And every day she has to work on those 5 things. Super easy, right? Now that becomes a priority, Elena's 5. Katira, I'm going to challenge you and say, what are your priorities besides calling your database? Or maybe you want to get more specific and say, in my database, I'm going to be calling my past clients and my core sphere only. And maybe reach out to people on social that are my friends. That's 3 things. Katira, maybe we've got Katira's 3. And every day, you just put it up on a simple index card and you have it right in front of you. And now it's Katira's 3 every day, every day, every day. You've got to keep it in front of you because we're so distracted by everything else. You're not alone on that. Terry, we will be there. Good. We'll put up the link. Trenton, Asusena, can you put up the link to that? And I think we've almost got Barry on in a few more minutes. Let's go through these questions. Laura, discipline to do those daily things. Have brand new MacBook Air and the space bar is not working. I was wondering why that was all together. That's so good. I thought, Laura, that it I thought that it was going to be a hashtag, and I thought you just forgot the hashtag. That's really good. I love that. Yeah, let's get that space bar working. That's so good. Yeah, I like that. Cindy, keeping up with all the things. Cindy, I think remove number 1 completely. It's not keeping up with all the things. It's number 1 is based on what those 2 things are. What are the priorities in my business right now? Priorities meaning those things that bring me business. Because at the end of the day, that's why we're in this. We're in this to make money, right? That's it. But along the journey, we do other things. And those other things are very important. So I want to know if you're looking at priorities, what are those priorities for you? Who are you going to be connecting with daily? Maybe it's your agents that you need to have produce better numbers. What are they focused on that they shouldn't be focused on? What are their priorities? What about yours? Right? And most of the time, just from being in this business for a while, most of the time, your biggest challenge in making money, in prospecting, in closing, comes down to one thing, and that one thing is so complicated. It's your mindset. It's how you're feeling. It's your emotions. It's your doubts. It's your anxiety. It's your stress. It's you. It's how you're doing up here. That's more than half the battle. I've seen it live. I've watched it happen in front of me. I see it all the time when people call up their past clients or their online leads. Right? You're calling an online lead. Hey, Joe, thanks for visiting our website through Google. I'm just following up to see how your home search is going. Oh, listen, I'm just looking. Stop calling me. Can you please take my number off? And then they're like, oh, yeah, no problem. Hang up. Man, online leads suck. I don't know how people do it. That's a combination of mindset and skills because we convert those all day long. So mindset, hard one. Corey, besides finding inventory, it's breaking the cycle of my gifted team members who can just turn it on and turn it off. I want them to stay consistent, not earn 5 deals, take a vacation, and then turn it on 2 months. Corey, that solution, I think, is beyond you teaching them. It comes down to some psychology, right? Desire, some work ethic. It's a lot there. So what I've noticed a great solution for that longer term is to continually hire. You hire more agents, they weed out, but your training has to be in place. I know you care, you're a great team leader, but you have to show up for those that you're hiring. You have to show up better. You have to show up as the leader you are consistently, and you can attract more great agents. And here's what happens when you surround yourself with amazing agents, amazing staff. They demand greatness. They love working with greatness. They love being challenged to work better and differently. You watch that happen, then you become unstoppable. And then other people just start falling off because they just can't keep up. You create an environment that produces more amazing and great people. You produce more leaders. That's what it comes down to. That's a great one, Corey. Patty, consistency. Consistency is a habit you can build over time. You just have to focus on what it is that you want to focus on. What are your priorities, Patty? What are they? Let's get clarity. Consistency on what? What days will you show up doing what? What does it look like? Remember that sheet that I outlined? Let's get clear on the priorities of where you're heading, right? I like that. Peggy, helping agents to understand all the new rules. They are concerned and it's confusing, not get into trouble. Peggy, that we've only got part of it, unfortunately, right? Now that the Department of Justice is coming out on June 25th and saying, here's what we think, which is going to throw a wrench into everything. We don't know. We don't know what we don't know, right? Because nobody knows. We only know what we kind of know, and that's the post-settlement. That's as clear as we're going to get over the next few weeks until the 25th. And even then, things are still going to change. And then even then, it's state by state. So my suggestion to you is you get as much information as you can and relay and let them know that we're not there yet, but it will come out over time, and to focus on the things that bring you money. And that's relationships, relationships, relationships. Good one, Peggy. Lisa, systems, onboarding, new agents, tech, very small independent brokerage. Lisa, we can help you jump in. We've got a solution to all that, especially systems, onboarding, and tech. That's our specialty. I like that. Andre, onboarding is a system that I always struggle with. Andre, onboarding new agents, I'm assuming, right? If so, just give me a thumbs up because we've got that one. Day-to-day transactions, client follow-up onboarding. Katrina, I like that. In fact, here, I'll show you really quick while we're waiting for Barry now, because I think all of you will benefit from this one. You're going to want to see this one. This is some of our follow-up. Let me see if I can find that beautiful chart that we have. No, figures.
Hey, Tristan.
Yeah, shoot.
Oh, I was just saying, hey.
Oh, you're here.
Yeah, I have been actually, but I think you got to turn on the video for the non-host with the most. You're the host with the most.
That's you, baby.
No, that's you, according to Zoom.
I'm joking. I'm joking. Yeah, okay. Let's get Monch or Asusena or Trenton to turn it on for you. And then I've got a whole flow chart, which we won't get into because we've got Barry, but let's pick a winner right before Barry starts. For this one, I'll send it over to you. Barry, you are now the co-host. Here we go, everyone. Welcome, Barry.
Hey.
I was expecting you in your yoga outfit. What the hell?
I'm sorry, man. Sorry to disappoint.
Yeah.
Camera's being weird. There we go.
Here we go, guys. I need to know one thing you learned in the last hour that you think you can implement or was a big aha. And Asusena is going to pick somebody, and then we'll send this over to you.
That's an amazing book.
Right when Barry is done, we'll do the same thing with Barry's book, which is right behind him. I'll send you Barry's book, which is right there. But that's right after Barry. All right. So, Asusena, do me a favor, pick somebody from the audience and
everybody's learning so much.
Yeah, dude. They're excited to.
You know,
I love your frames, man. They're really
thanks,
nice.
man. Actually, I tried to take them back, but they're prescription and they wouldn't let me. So I became a white glasses guy. I don't know. This just wasn't me, but I've had them for a while now.
What?
So But I haven't heard you speak in a little while. And I just want to tell you the amount of clarity and focus that you have in your teaching style. Like, dude, there's a reason why so many people are reacting so favorably to what you're saying. Because, dude, it's just, you've got it super dialed in, man. Really proud of what you've been able to do.
Thanks, brother. You know what it was? It was COVID, right? We had to show up so often during COVID
Yeah,
that we were doing 6 to 7 hours of pure webinars and presentations. So
it's true. It's
it,
true.
yeah, that's what did it. That's what did it. All right, Barry. For
So
those
you
that
want me to
don't
talk
know,
about making money and keeping your
yeah,
agents accountable, profitability and agent and accountability, huh?
that's a big one, man. That's a big one. For those that don't know, Barry Jenkins, he is a good friend of mine. Barry and I go back to 2000. I must have been 2015 or 16, man. One of those.
Yeah. Wow, that's
right?
weird. It's been a while, a little while.
Yeah, it's been good. And we've both watched each other grow into different different worlds, which is beautiful to see. I love
Ah,
Barry. Barry's a
yeah.
really good friend of mine.
Thanks, man.
I feel a lot of great feelings when Barry's around. So you
That's
you
good.
will all feel good stuff. Barry cares about you. That's the
Yeah,
cool
yeah.
thing. Barry
Well, I
cares.
do. I do.
And you can tell in his book, which by the way we'll give out. So hold your horses on
Thanks.
that. But Barry also runs a team. Dude, it's like a brokerage out there. It's like Better Homes and Gardens.
It's a
It's a big
teamerage. Yeah, it's a team.
teamerage.
I've got an 80 agent team. They're all getting deals from me. Yeah. So that's
Okay.
basically our whole business model. It's been that way since 2011.
And the two top sources for business, where would they be?
Ylopo and a corporate relocation account.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that. And when you go Ylopo, is it the Ylopo Google PPC, Google
Yes. Yeah.
Facebook
Google
Lead? Okay,
PPC.
Google PPC,
Yeah.
and then the relocation. And that
Yep.
relocation's been around for a while with you guys, or no?
It's through Anywhere, who owns, Better Homes and Gardens, all the
Oh.
others. They have a relocation network, and it's sizable. I would say it's not the reason, but it's definitely one of the key components of our growth over the last decade. Just having, because we have the largest Navy base in the world in my backyard, and so just a constant flow of military men and women relocating the area, and they have a special program for them. So it's been phenomenal, huge blessing. So
That's awesome,
so yeah,
man.
so run a teamerage. Yep. And I'm the head realtor in residence at Ylopo. I've been there since 2016. That was a connection from you, Tristan. And I've been there for 8 years building the product, doing the trainings.
Dude,
So yeah.
8 years now?
Yes. Isn't that
Holy
weird?
crap, dude.
I know.
Wow.
Yeah. It's been great.
That's crazy.
It's been great. Yeah.
All right.
But
well, with that, guide us, man. Help us.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited about talking about both of these topics because, my roles changed with my brokerage last year. I made a bunch of changes. And so I have a real singular focus now working with my agents. And it has to do with how do I make them and me more profitable, and how do I hold them accountable? And in my world, I also have a full-time job at Ylopo, so I'm having to manage both, and both need me to do both. So they're very forgiving with one another, but it means that I have to be really smart and I have to streamline. So the first thing I want to talk about with profitability has to do with if you have a team. I have a team, and I've tried a lot of different ways to help my agents become more profitable. And I want to tell you some reasons why it didn't work normally. One, I assumed my agents were going to approach me buying back their time like I would. So if you said to me, hey, Barry, pay $100 and I'm going to buy back 2 hours of your day so that you can go prospect, I would do that, and I would go prospect. But not everybody works that way. A lot of people, they say, oh, sure, I'll pay the 100 to buy back 2 hours, and I'm going to go play golf, or I'm going to go to the beach. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with wanting to golf on the beach. They don't have that entrepreneurial drive. Not everybody has that. Okay. And the difficulty for us as team owners and broker owners is that the sad truth is, if they were like us, they wouldn't work for us. Okay. If they wanted to go and they had that drive, eventually they're going to go build something. Now, maybe you can partner with them through your downline or something like that. But outside of that, like, phenomenon, like, we need them to have an employee style mindset. So for me, holding them accountable. Did you call 7 times in the first week? Did you have you done your follow-ups for your nurture leads this week? You know, that's a full-time job for somebody. And candidly, while it keeps the leads from getting wasted, it really is not that effective. What's effective is impacting their motivation. And I want to teach you guys what I did to do exactly that. So I elected a few years ago to send all my new leads into a pond, not assigning the leads round robin to my agents. Now, they hated this change. Okay. They liked having the security of 20 to 30 new leads being assigned to them and them being able to work them to the best of their ability. And when I tell them they didn't do a good enough job, okay, I'll try harder next month, boss. Sorry about that. But they liked having that. When it went into the pond, I found out that I didn't need as many leads. I was giving each agent on my team 20 to 30 new opportunities a month. Now I needed more like 10 to 15 per agent, because what I was basically doing was I was sending all the leads into one place and I was filtering the leads so that if anybody in my organization tried to reach one of them, the lead would disappear for 12 hours. So I'm not worried about us overcalling them. Okay. What I was focused on is distributing the effort of my organization amongst all of them. I was averaging it out because some weeks our agents are busy or out of town. Other weeks they're not.
True.
And so I'm averaging out that pattern of working hard and not working hard amongst my whole organization. Couple of fascinating things happened after they stopped complaining, which took a few weeks. Once they stopped complaining, I noticed that incrementally, I started getting more effort across my organization. What I found out was when my agents would log into our first smart list, let's say they started the day, there was 500 leads there, and 5 of my agents that morning are calling. And in 20 minutes, it goes from 500 leads to 490 because the first 10 had been called. The leads start disappearing in front of the agent. I've manufactured scarcity. They're watching opportunities disappear and they're not sure what happened to them, right? And so first thing I started to see was, wow, I went from the average agent calling 50 times to 75 times. So as I watched this, what I started to realize was that I could get more with a carrot than I could with a stick. So then I continued to build off of this over this 2-year journey. And recently, over the last 6 months, I've been able to integrate AI voice calls to my new leads. So basically, robots are now calling the new leads. Well, I learned a long time ago, as I said, that employer mindset. I had 9 ISAs. And when I went to a model where my ISAs were doing all the prospecting and my agents were just getting live transfers, it's kind of like an animal at the zoo that then gets put in the wild. Like, they can't hunt. They're just used to getting fed. Yeah. My agents need to be cutting their teeth on failure all week so that when the ISA gets them somebody that starts the call with, hey, I'm waiting a year. I did tell your assistant I wanted to talk to somebody, but I'm not really serious. That my agents can handle that. And I found if they weren't facing that failure all week, making those prospects, they weren't doing it. So then what I decided to democratize live transfers. So basically, when my AI voice is calling my leads and my new leads, when AI finds somebody that wants to talk, they live transfer it to 10 of my agents. Now, how do you get on that list of 10? Just because you worked hard the week before. Literally, I've democratized opportunities based off of effort. Now, this recruits really, really well. It's so sexy because the new agents don't have to worry about politics. The numbers don't lie.
Dude, I
The
like
numbers
that 'cause
don't lie.
it answers, Corey, I think you're still on here. That answers your question further. It's like you need to be looking at a model similar to this because this is what attracts other people that are competitive that want to succeed.
Yeah,
So yeah, Corey's in here.
exactly. And what I tell them is you can suck, you can call, and you can be horrible. And I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to teach you guys how I'm teaching them to do better, but I can teach you. All I need is you to try. Now, I know secretly what's going to happen. If they outwork everybody else, they're going to start to get those calluses, just like at the gym. First couple times you get blisters, then the hands toughen up, right? If they can stay consistent for 2 to 3 months and they're doing this, each week on Monday, we email our office and say, congratulations to the top 10 for this week's ISA transfers. Now I don't have 9 ISAs, I have 2. I was able to find the other 7 jobs with other organizations because I was able to reduce my overhead because of AI to 2. So I have 2 humans and a robot calling my leads. I have my whole organization calling because they want one of these live transfers that we're discovering. So they're working. And while my agents are working, my ISA division is finding the opportunity, live transferring it to whoever represents the top 50% of my organization calling and follow-up us. I went from average 75 calls to 125 overnight. Overnight.
That's so cool, man.
I know. I know.
What a great concept. That's so good.
And I don't, well, it's because I don't have to manage it, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to call them. And actually, when I'm recruiting, Tristan, I tell them this. If you need me to wake you up in the morning and say, hey, I need you to hit the phones, let's go. Respectfully, I'm not the right place for you. You need to go, because that's just not right now. That's not how an organization is built.
You're so funny because you figured this out because you're trying to conserve time because
100%.
You're over here working at Wailopo, breaking stuff and making it happen. And you're over here running the team. And you're like, damn, how do I make this crap happen? And that's what forced it to, guys, pay attention to Barry challenging himself. And that's why he's able to grow and come up with new ways of challenging his team.
Absolutely.
This is why I love this, man.
Thanks, dude. So we were able to lower our PPC costs, our spend for new leads. Remember, I went from 20 to 30 to 15 to 20. So I literally was buying less. I was able to remove my overhead by over 60%, 70% for my ISA team. The number of calls more than doubled coming from my organization. The number of live transfers transferring to my agent more than doubled. But we still had a fundamental problem, Tristan. Most people on Google, and this is what I wrote that book about that you wrote the foreword on, most people are dreamers when they're on Google. And as real estate agents, we crave a lead, a consumer that has clarity around what their needs are. We want them to know things like what kind of home they want, when they're going to move. We want that certainty. And we think deep down that's a good lead. And so, the phase dreamers, they're dreaming. Then they become planners. They start piecing together some details. Then they become shoppers. What we want is we want to talk to shoppers. Fundamentally, that's what we're all craving when we buy leads. The challenge is most Google leads are dreamers. Even when I have an ISA transfer them to my sales team, they are still dreamers. They don't know what neighborhood yet. They're not sure when they want to move. They haven't spoken to a mortgage banker yet. And we as an industry have squandered those opportunities because we're all saying, well, when you're ready to go look, AKA shop, I'm going to send you my email. If you have questions, let me know. And we never hear from them again. And we're missing a key opportunity. And that is to transition the consumer from a dreamer to a planner. Now, about 7 months ago, I read the writing on the wall. I saw what NAR was doing, and I decided I was not going to go broke, and I was going to quickly pivot my organization around this. So the other thing we did for profitability, and then I'm going to move to accountability after this, unless you had questions, Tristan.
No.
To change the profitability narrative for us was that instead of being frustrated by the dreamer lacking clarity around their needs, we would celebrate the dreamer being a dreamer. I'm so glad you're not ready. This is the largest transaction of your life, probably, and it deserves careful consideration and wise planning. So we're celebrating their lack of preparedness. And this became the standard operating procedure for every sales call in my organization. If they have a pulse and a desire to buy or sell, you are going to encourage them to meet with you. So then what we do is we basically advocate for wise planning, why they shouldn't be guessing, and we advocate setting a face-to-face appointment. If they're out of town, we do Zoom. And we do a buyer consult. We go over the process level. We go over our unique value proposition as an agent. We then move into the agency agreement. I've been doing this for 8 months, that we like to reframe, thanks to Carrie Shull, as a loyalty agreement. The beauty of this is we're controlling the narrative. The consumer hasn't been taught how this works. So whatever my respective rate of pay is, I'm able to share that with the person at that time and help them to get that agency agreement. And what we found was that the incubation period for leads from Google went from 9 to 12 months. We're waiting for them to figure it out on their own. Call me when you're ready. To now, because we're an active participant in the education process, we've shrunk the funnel down to 3 to 4 months. And this scales really, really well. So from a profitability standpoint, I can tell you that across the country, volume is down, and it's no different in my market. But what we've had to do is we've had to really double down. What do we want to focus on as an organization? Who is our profitable agent? The demographic, the persona rather of agent in our organization. Who are they? What do they look like as far as their efforts and their sales and their history and their track record? And let's obsess about them. Let's train them. Let's empower them. Instead of just focusing on agent count, like we have X amount of agents, somehow the number of agents equates to your success level. No, I want to run a profitable business. And so I've had to tailor my education, my training division. I've got a new trainer that I'm working with for my agents, and just really obsess about that. So from a profitability standpoint, that's the last 6 months. I'm really excited about it because I just know the direction that I'm headed.
Question: who's your best presenter?
Presenter as in what?
Like doing the whole buyer consult, whether it's on Zoom or in person?
I've got a few. Kelsey, Danielle. I mean, I've got a few of them.
Dude, I'd love to bring one of them on into a Brilliant Tribe to
let's do
demonstrate the whole process. You just tell me who. Wait, is Danielle the one you connected me to the New York Times?
Yeah.
Good.
Yes. Yeah.
Great.
And I'll connect you again. But yeah, we set 500 appointments in February, 550 appointments in March. It's going to scale really, really well. And I don't have to worry about my rate of pay. I don't have to worry about commission compression. I'm getting these agency agreements locked in because we're adding value by being educators and empowerers.
That's true. You're meeting them where they're at, which is part of what you say in the book too, man.
I'm trying to stay true to it.
Yeah, I like it.
So accountability. Can I move to the next phase?
You got it.
All right. So accountability. As I said, my organization is not set up to check on everybody all the time. And so I have been working closely with the team over at Maverick for the last 6 months, helping them literally build this product. It's a Ylopo sister company. And I'm going to try to just give you guys concepts that I was passionate about. Whether you get Maverick, you could maybe find it somewhere else. I don't know. First thing I'll say is I wanted something that was watching my whole CRM, that every day, just like a team manager or a lead manager goes in and looks for missed opportunities, I wanted software to do that. And so every Monday, my admin logs into Maverick, clicks a button, and we have 7 or 8 rules. So I'll give you some examples of the rules. Your lead called you back and you didn't call them back. That's literally one of the nudges. Okay. Like, and unfortunately,
it's a great nudge.
Unfortunately, every day I see that, right? There's lots of others. Your hot lead, the lead you said was hot, you haven't spoken to them in 2 weeks. Either change the stage out of hot or call them, right? So we click a button and there's all these rules like that, nurture and new lead follow-up. And it sends my agents a text, it sends my agents an email, and it puts the leads in a special list, missed opportunity list. And we told them in May that this was coming, and it's going to kick off July 1st. But every Monday, we're going to nudge all of our agents' leads that they've missed, that they're not working. If they don't have that nudge corrected by Friday, we are taking the leads. We click a different button, and we literally assign the leads out of their name, and I'm assigning it back to my ISA team. So this is a big change for me, right? Mr. Nice Guy, this, that, and the other. But some of my agents literally haven't spoken to their hot leads in 4 months.
Damn.
And I've gone to them and said, I'm doing you a favor. I don't think you can manage more than 50 relationships at a time. You've got 250 people in here that are leads we bought. You've forgotten about them. Just be honest with me. And they have been. And they understand that they need the noise out of their minds. And meanwhile, I'm going to get the ISA team to reconnect with those old leads. So have a mechanism where your opportunities in your database are being watched. It could be a list in your CRM of leads not called in the last 7 days that are in the stage hot. You know, you got to have some kind of admin role. You could have a VA do it. You could have software do it like I'm doing it, but you need the ability. They are forgetting about the leads. So stop being mad about it and figure out a solution like I have to be able to do that. The other thing I'm doing from an accountability standpoint is with ChatGPT and other tools, there's lots of AI stuff out there, but I've been using AI grading. So basically what happens is every phone call that's taking place inside of my Follow Up Boss CRM, that's the CRM we use.
Okay.
If it's longer than 2 minutes, the call is being graded, meaning they get a score of 1 to 10. It's the best is 10, the lowest is 1. They're getting notes, summary notes, telling me what they should have done differently. And then any agents that get below a score of 6, I'm forcing them to call our sales coach, which is a bot. They're literally calling a robot. The scenario is the robot just registered on our website, and you have to set an appointment. And so we have 4 levels, but basically it's role playing with a robot. And so, you know, what this has done for us by having all the calls graded, I'll just give one example. May 1st, 40% of our conversations in our CRM, we were asking for the appointment. It was like 45%. And so out of 10 conversations, 4 or 5 times we said we should meet. Of the 4 or 5 that we asked, 43% said yes. So we'll just make the math simple. We'll say 3, right?
Okay.
So three out of 10 conversations were resulting in an appointment. Well, when I started grading these calls and the data showed me only 40% of your conversations are being asked an appointment. Well, what would you do? I did a training and I said, guys, this is our standard operating procedure. Over half of you aren't doing it. So we set up some role playing. We did some things and said, you need to advocate for these buyer appointments. You need to advocate to meet with people. And within 30 days, it went to 65% or 60 to 65% of our phone conversations. We were now asking for the appointment. So in 30 days, it went up 20%. Right? So instead of 4 out of 10, it went to 6 out of 10. What's interesting is the same percentage of leads said, yes, I'll meet. So as we started asking for the appointment more, the number of, or the percentage of leads that said, sure, I'll meet with you remained the same, which means now instead of 3 appointments, now within 30 days, on average, 4 to 5 of every 10 conversations, we are, 2 to 3 out of every 4 to 5 conversations, we are getting an appointment. So we added an additional appointment per 10 calls in 1 month. And so, I think AI is an overwhelming subject for a lot of people. I think it is overwhelming, just period. And we all know that there's some cool stuff out there. We all know that, yeah, I got to use AI. I got to use AI. What I want to encourage everybody, when you listen to someone like me talking about how I'm using a particular piece of software, instead of just being impressed or overwhelmed, what I want you to do is I want you to ask yourself a really simple question. What problem do I need to solve? And is there software that could solve it? What I think a lot of agents are doing right now when it comes to profitability and accountability, and specifically with the topic of AI, is they're coming to you or me, Tristan, and they're saying, hey, what should I be doing right now? And I always tell people that's just not the right question. What do you mean, what should you be doing? I don't know enough about you or your business or your market. I don't know what your dreams are. I don't know what you're trying to leverage so that you can replace with something else. I said, why don't you tell me a problem in your business right now that you're having or you're dealing with, and let's then discuss a software solution or an integration to help you with that. And so I really want to encourage everybody as I wind this session down is I need you to have a healthy dose of self-awareness. In our industry, we are so other focused, and it might sound hypocritical because here Tristan and I am on video right now in front of you. It would be really easy for you to just do what we say. And to a certain degree, I think you'll find a measure of success because we do have principles that are applied. But one of the things I love about Tristan, and I'm endeavoring to do the same, is we actually want you guys to find yourself. We want you to pay attention. What are my dreams? Where do I want to go? What am I struggling with right now? How am I failing? How is my business what parts of my business are not profitable year over year? Like, these are the questions that should give you the roadmap to what software you need to be using. To Tristan's point, I needed to set up my business so that I could devote my full time to building products for another company. And my business, my brokerage is a laboratory for that endeavor. So my optic when I'm thinking about things is, okay, there's a problem, right? My agents aren't calling enough. How can I help them? My ISAs aren't doing what I need them to do. Is there software that could do a lot of their jobs? My agents aren't nurturing their leads. Is there a button I can press somewhere to nudge them, right? My agents aren't calling enough, or when they are, they're not asking for the appointment. I'm not listening to all those calls. I don't have time to. Is there a software that could allow me? So for me, I was implementing software to augment my other full-time gig. For you guys, you might say, well, I just want to sell more houses. Okay. Well, let's look at, are you talking to enough humans? That's a great question. Am I talking to enough humans every day about real estate? If not, what can I do to change that? Maybe you need leads. Maybe you need an appointment setter. Maybe you need to figure out a new, marketing strategy, right? So all of you have different needs, and you just need to think about the software available to you to hold your agents accountable, to help you to be more profitable, and then integrate it through that optic. And what you'll find is it won't be, oh my gosh, I remember before this and I remember after. Like successful people don't work that way. If you talk to successful people, they normally behind closed doors many times feel like a hot mess. Right? If I was to turn my camera around, you would see Chipotle over there, coffee that I made right here. Here's my notes for today, right? Here's a water from yesterday, right? But right here, I got it together. Look, got my blazer on. I'm but success normally is small micro adjustments that compound over time. And so I really just want to empower you guys to think about what your needs are, where you're failing, where you're not profitable. And if you don't know those things, then that's a whole nother topic. Maybe you should just do some deep diving on the areas that you're not seeing success and then build and make those changes.
Very true. Very true. Yes. I'll answer a few questions. Yes. Barry is in our group coaching. You'll see him inside teaching. So is Gary. He's going to be on next. And the next one, dude, I'd love to have Danielle sometime in July, just so she can do the presentation if she can.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to her. Yeah, I was just actually talking to her before this session.
And then here's a great concern, man, because I think Emmett brings up a really good question. It's not one that we haven't heard. So, Barry, what's your response on this one? I already had a response. Emmett, great question. Says Tristan, you lead with, how do I make people feel? What am I left? What am I left with? How do you feel when a bot calls you? I can never imagine letting AI call people.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. I think what I'm about to say is going to answer this question, but I'm going to answer it a little bit differently because this type of conversation comes up a lot. Yep. Really, if I was to overly distill this question, it comes down to human connection, right? Like, and first of all, I think it's amazing that Emmett's concerned about that. Like, what a principled individual, like to be worried about that. Like, that's fantastic. I'll just tell you the results. Whereas it would take Agent A 8 hours and 300 dials to find 5 humans that he wanted to talk with, spread out over 8 hours. And I'm using round numbers. I'm making these numbers up. But let's say he spends 8 hours and he finds a few that day. Solid calling day, a lot of no's, a lot of no answers, but he finds 5. Now, because he's having to work all day, his follow-up with those 5 might look like maybe an email. Maybe he's got his game together and he sends a video text, right? And then he does it the next day with those 5, with another 8 hours and another group of leads. And, he's prospecting all day and he's doing his best to nurture those clients. What AI has allowed my agency to do is it's able to take their 8 hours and devote it just to those 5 people. So what's fascinating is AI has actually helped us to have deep and meaningful connections with the people that want them. Furthermore, you happen to be talking to someone that has real bias around this subject because I've been teaching our AI bot to show empathy and to care. And I have some really bad news. AI is so much more effective at showing empathy, human to human empathy via phone, than the average salesperson. And I'm not happy to say that. I can honestly say we know that AI doesn't care. It doesn't have feelings. I think the honest truth is, I think most salespeople are either so scared to have meaningful connections with the prospect on the other end of the phone, or they're so callous that they don't care. But on both sides of this ditch, both ditches on both sides of this road, the consumer experience is very poor. I'm either nervous. Would you like to meet and I could show you a home? Well, my son is sick. Oh, no problem. Well, listen, last thing I want to do is bother you. Do you want me to email you? Right? Whereas AI has no feelings and says, wow, I'm really sorry to hear that your son isn't feeling well. It's always hard when a family member is sick. I just have one question before I need to let you go. Like, from a consumer standpoint, the consumer actually has a better experience. Now, if the AI is not good, you're spot on, because I get those insurance calls just like you do. And because I'm in the industry, I like to mess with them. Hi, yes, we're calling about the health insurance quote that we have for you. Would you like to do that? Sure, but candidly, I'm really interested in what kind of cheeses you have. Absolutely. Let me connect you with someone. Would you say you're looking for individual or group insurance? I prefer cheddar over mozzarella. Great. We're going to connect you with a single health insurance. Like, that AI is horrible. But there's ChatGPT 1, then there's ChatGPT 2, then there's ChatGPT 3, and then there's 4, and then there was 4 Turbo, and then May 13th there was 4.0, not 4.0, but 4.0, just 2 weeks ago. And I'm just letting you know it's based off of a large language model, and it is remarkable and scary at how good it is. So I probably didn't answer your question in a way that maybe made sense, but I want to give a thorough description of it.
That's funny. You may not have, Barry. You may not have. All right. Let's go to the chat. I need you guys to let me know one thing that stood out from Barry's conversation so we can pick a winner for the book that we're going to send out. There's one winner. Let me know what stood out. It could be a sentence. It could be a word, a phrase. It could be something you love about Barry, or something you love about my hat. whatever. Just tell me. And then Asusena will pick one winner. Yeah, there you go. AI, ISA, mind blown.
His
Very, as people,
glasses.
his glasses. I'm telling you, your glasses are good, dude. It reminds me of Seth Godin. You know how he has the
Okay, that's a
yellow,
compliment. Yes, thank you.
like it stands out. It stands out. I like it. I have a question as people are answering. Let's pick a winner, Asusena. Very, when you now have less ISAs focused on making the calls, are you looking to make it even less ISAs and relying more on AI? What's that look like?
Well, I mean, look, this is representative of AI in general. First, I want to again be clear. I was able to take the 7 that I removed and either give them different positions in my organization or find them other positions.
Mhm.
So this is about right sizing your organization. It's about putting the right people in the right place. And I found that there was still a need for a human to have some subjective thought inside of our CRM. I needed
Mhm.
somebody paying attention. I also needed somebody for special projects. Like if I discovered an opportunity in our database and maybe I made a list of 80 people, you know, it's not, technology is not available yet to where I can just tell AI, hey, call this new list. Like they're really good at one specific scenario. They master it. But if I've got this off list or recruiting, for example, because the agents haven't opted in for AI calls, so I can't just have them call recruiting. So I have them do that as well. So that's actually a whole nother narrative. One of my ISAs does recruiting calls. I added 15 agents in 45 days when I moved everything over because I wasn't reducing the number of calls because AI was actually making the phone calls for me.
I love that, dude. Good job. Good job. All right. We're going to pick a winner. Asusena is going to pick one and then let you know in the next 2 minutes. Barry, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. Anything you want to add that you're looking at reading or all good?
I just think, honestly, like, so the feedback is just fantastic. Like this organization, the brilliant tribe that you've been able to curate, Tristan. I just want to make sure everybody knows that, in my opinion, there's nobody more connected and more in the know than Tristan. It's been that way for a decade, by the way. This isn't like recently. And so the fact that we all get exposure to him and his group, we're just all really fortunate. I appreciate the opportunity, Tristan. Every time I get to work with you, man, I'm just all about it. So thank you. And thank you, tribe. Hope to see you guys again soon.
I love you, man. Thank you for doing
I
this.
love you too, buddy. Talk to you later.
All right. That was Barry. Barry, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you being on. And we've got Gary Ashton next, another great friend of mine. We'll turn on his. Can you do me a favor, guys? Turn on his camera. Thank you. There it is. There's Gary. Look at that. Setting the mood with the purple background. Gary, you didn't plan this at all, buddy. You did. I love this.
Yeah.
This is so good. But Gary, we'll give you a second to have a good connection there. I wanted to point out Laura. No, there you go. There you go.
Then, I moved in.
It's coming in and out, buddy. Your connection's a little bit off.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you, but you're a little slow.
How can that be?
Oh, wait. Now it's finally connecting. Good. There you go. You're smooth now. Don't screw with anything. I think we got it. I think we got you. Laura, let me know when you fix the space bar on the keyboard. When I'm watching what you type, it's making me laugh internally. I love it. There you go. And I also said, let me know when we got a winner. You can put it in there. And competition scarce makes, I like it. All right. Gary Ashton, for those people that don't know who you are, I get it wrong every time. You're not the number one team in the world, or are you? What the hell is it? Tell me. I want to get it right.
So, yeah. So I'd like to be the number one team in the world, but the number one Remax team in the world.
Got it. All right. Do you have to roll the R like that too?
Say that again?
Do you have to roll the R like that too? Remax.
Well, so I'll tell you why this all started, because I'm from England. And so when I say world, I say world. But when Americans say world, they say world. But I can't do an American accent. So me trying to, I was like, number one in the world. And then it just became a thing because I can't speak with an American accent. So anyway, and then it sounds like it should have some reverb, some gravitas behind it. So it's number one in the world. The world. That's
I like it.
fun.
You could just find Gary on Google. Just Google Gary. Gary, thanks for being
Just Google
part of
Gary
this.
Ashton.
Thanks for being part of a brilliant tribe and helping us all grow. Let's talk about one specific thing when it comes down to your team. You've got a massive, productive, successful team that you've been running for a while now. And now you recently started going further or deeper into vendor relationships. And I want to touch on that for a good portion of this because it's a big opportunity for a lot of people listening in. Why have you done that recently? What does that look like?
Well, I don't think it's anything new. I think that everybody that's involved in real estate, maybe even as a single person or a small team, a big team or a mega team, you've all developed relationships over the course of your business. And so when you work with clients, I think the ones that we've focused on primarily in the past is relationships with the traditional ones like mortgage, title, insurance, home warranties. And the one that I don't know why I forgot this for a long time was movers, making sure that you have a relationship with the mover. So it's a cliche, but what you're trying to do is offer your client the best possible experience by aligning yourself with the best possible vendors, highest standards. People are going to react and see the value. So everybody's done that. I think everybody does that. And then when you talk to the client, because you've been part of the community for a long time, you just by default, the plumbers and the best HVAC guy, the best place to get. This is all the resources that make real estate agents valuable.
That's true. Here's the thing I learned from you though, with that specifically. Even though we know this as agents, teams, brokerages, we forget to put it all in one place. We forget to advertise it. We forget to connect the pieces, the homeowner with the vendors, and you've simplified it so that we can remember more. Tell me about that simplification, because this is important to everyone listening in.
Well, for me, I think the simplification was we've been putting all the vendors together in one spot. So this is the evolution of how this came apart. So we would have the team of 150, 160, 180. As we keep growing, we keep bringing in more agents that have their own little resources and they get to know, hey, I just met this guy. He's an amazing handyman. Okay, well, let's bring him in to our preferred list of vendors. Now that it's an approved vendor. So essentially we had a big old spreadsheet. And then we would make sure that somebody was either just a recommendation or they were approved or they've done a good job. And just like anything else, if they don't do a good job, if you get 2 or 3 times where people complain about the same thing, well, then you're out. So for us, it was just over a period of time, making sure that we were, it's that cliche because you want to refer out somebody that's going to be a good reflection of you. So we built up this network. And like I said, everybody has this, I think. They're just not really thinking it through. And so we had it all in one spot. And so from there, came up with the idea of doing some co-marketing with those vendors because now we're using a product called homeowner.ai, which for us is a place where we can create a portal that the homeowner can go visit. So for us, we white labeled it as My Homes Intel. But if you go to
My Homes Intel,
let
me take that.
So the reason, because that makes no sense to you in California, right? But if you're hopefully if you're in the Nashville, Middle Tennessee area, our slogan that we use on the TV and radio, sports marketing is like, don't sell without the intel. So that's kind of brand ourselves to the word intel. So this isn't directly associated with me, but there's a subliminal association. So my home's Intel. So it ties into what we're doing. So we're providing this service for our clients and giving them access to all the preferred vendors that we work with. Yeah. So you got access to your, I mean, the one thing that once somebody's bought their home, everybody's interested in knowing how much their home has appreciated or what it's worth over the next 2, 3, 4. I mean, people move every 5-10 years now. I think it's getting longer and longer. So there's that appreciation, hopefully. And I think we all know that there may be times where there's a little dips, but it's like the stock market. It essentially keeps on growing. So that's something you don't want to look at every day. But I don't know if you keep going back and want information about all the best things to do to maintain the value of your house, because there's maintenance that you have to do. You have to clean your gutters. You have to make sure the dryer vent in the washing machine area, that's all clean. You know, all these little things that are part of the life, because you don't want to have a house fire. And so anyway, so for us, the idea is that when you're working with a client, you spend all that money to generate that lead, which then becomes an opportunity, which then becomes a client, hopefully. So at that point, you want to make sure they have the best possible experience so that they start to see you as the real estate expert. That's how these are all the traditional things. Like that's how you benefit from getting referrals and repeat business.
I think a lot of agents talk about it, but you went out and did it. I think that's the difference, right? Where a lot of people.
Well, that's what I'm leading up to. Yeah. So the next thing that is to really, and I think this becomes more important now, even more so when as a buyer agent or a listing agent, you're trying to demonstrate how you add value to the actual client. So when you're actually meeting somebody, now differentiating yourself, because what you're promoting is the value that you're going to add to your client when you actually go and help them show homes, write contract, write offers. So you're pushing that knowledge, that real estate knowledge. So, but to differentiate yourself, you're also going to be able to show the value that you have when you're buying a home or after you've bought the home, because now you're giving them access to your kind of like your inner circle of, so you become then a preferred client, like a VIP client. So it's essentially like you become part of the country club, and once to get into that country club, you're a client. So now you got access to all of our vendors that are preferred, that we've used, that are established, that are well rated. So here's my analogy that I think maybe gets people to understand it. That if you and I were about to go for dinner, and we're going to go to the same restaurant, and we look at, there's a 45-minute wait. So you go there first, and you waiting in line. Yes, sir, there'll be 45 minutes. Okay, I'll hang out. Give me the little buzzer thing. So you're just hanging out, waiting to come in, and then I stroll up. I go straight to the front, and then the owner of the restaurant goes, "Mr. Ashton, come on in, come on. I got the table for you." At this point, you're going, how did he get into the front when I booked online? There's no tables available. I'm 45 minutes wait now. The difference is I know the owner of the restaurant, so he's given me preferential. I'm essentially his VIP client, as it were. So if you put the analogy to the HVAC or the plumber or the electrician, when I call up because I'm part of My Home's Intel, our clients are recognized by our home services vendors, and then they know, this is an Ashton team client. I need to make sure he gets put to the top. So going back to the restaurant analogy, that doesn't mean, when I get in before you 45 minutes, I'm straight. I'm sitting down, you're still out there waiting in line. But when they bring me the menu, I'm not getting a special menu. My menu still says steak $45. Your menu, when you get it, says steak 40. I mean, we have the same menu. The only thing that's really different is I get preferential treatment and preferential scheduling. This is kind of scheduling or scheduling. How do you guys say it? I always forget.
We'll go with
I get put to
schedule.
the top of the list.
Listen, it sounds like it comes down to the experience, and it's all about how you're making people feel. And you're creating this amazing environment around a list that we all have.
And that's what adds the value, because when you can explain to somebody, yeah, you might get a little discount because you're part of our network too, but in today's world, how important is it to get things done like that? And if you want to be able to leverage, it's kind of like saying, well, I know Gary Ashton, therefore I should get to the top. What you're doing is, well, I know the owner of the HVAC company by association with Gary, because now I'm in this VIP client network, and now I'm going to get preferential treatment. So when it gets to, like, I was in Austin yesterday. It was 100 degrees. They're having a little bit of a mini heat wave there. So, when everybody's getting hot and all of a sudden the HVAC is overworking, that's when they break down. So everybody wants HVAC service the same day, but now it's become valuable. I don't care about the discount. I just want to get it done because I'm living in here and it's 110 degrees inside the house. I've got to get it to cool down. So having that preferential treatment, preferential servicing, scheduling, that adds so much value. And then once your vendors and the home services, they actually start to see the value of this. So that's where the whole co-marketing thing comes in. You actually start working and you're attracting vendors who actually want to work with you, because really the agent is the gatekeeper here for all these peripheral services. And like I said, we all know mortgage, title, insurance, moving, home warranties. But when you establish that relationship with your client, I'll give you an analogy. This is how I like it. Like if you were moving to Nashville, Tristan, and I'm showing you homes for a week, 10 days, 2 weeks, we develop a good relationship. We're like buddies. I get to know you. Whenever we close on the house, we're going to be like, yeah, we're gonna come over. Can't wait for the housewarming. We're going to come over. We're going to meet the missus. We're going to become good friends. Oh, we're going to go to the hockey game. So we're planning this future because we become genuinely friends. So you close on the house, everything's great. A week later, you have a plumbing issue. Now, I've been telling you about My Homes Intel. I've been telling you about the resources. You're a VIP member. But because we have such a good relationship, you're probably just going to call me and I'm going to go, oh, yes, let me connect you with Airstream Plumbing. And I call up Airstream. Hey, this is Tristan, one of my VIP clients. Can we make sure okay, good. As time goes on, I start to fade a little bit into the distance because now I've got Michelle over here as my newest client. And then I got Steve, and then we're still good friends, but how do we retain that connection with it? And this is one thing that agents say, oh yeah, we're always going to stay in touch. And then what do? You send them a Christmas card. Obviously, some people are really good at making sure they get little gifts here and there. So Lolo, amazing. But what I wanted to do was utilize this service to replicate the pop buys, basically, because after 6 months or a year, when you have that problem with your plumbing, because we're having these little nudges and keep referring you back to My Homes Intel, which is the home portal, as it were, it's the hub, and it's unique to you as the homeowner. It has the way you register is by your address, so you can't have 5 people living at the same address. It's just your address. That's cool. You get to realize by coming back, and you're coming back to see how much the value of my home is. you know that your important documents are there about from closing the house, about the warranties. It's just this little hub where you keep going back, keep going back. And that's when you have that plumbing issue and you go, I'm going to go to My Homes Intel, go to my hub,
Yeah.
and I'm going to go to the home services because Gary kept mentioning My Homes Intel, My Homes Intel. We have a drip campaign, which is all about the stuff that we do with Grant Wise. This is really, what's that called? It's just a newsletter where you segment your audience. So we're making sure that people are getting interesting information about the local community, blah, 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 blah. But part of that is almost like it's a banner ad to remind them My Homes Intel. So there's this subliminal stuff going on. Yeah, and then you've got emails coming in. It's time to change the filters. It's time to do this maintenance on your home, which again keeps them coming back to My Homes Intel, which builds up that, just becomes a second nature. Oh, I need somebody to do, maybe going to remaster the our bedroom, the owner's suite. I want to do a new shower. I want to block out. I want to block. Well, there's ways to go in there to utilize it. And again, you've got to explain this to somebody. But once they start to see the value of the service, that helps keep you in front of them. So that helps with the retention. It helps with the fact that you're continually offering value to that client.
Well, that's part of what
top of mind. So
that's why I thought this was genius when you told it to me. I think it was late last year when you told me you were working on this. I thought it was brilliant. I'm like, dude, we all have this list, but we don't use it like you're telling me. Trisha, we'll get to your question. I bet you everyone has that one. But first, I want to talk about our conversation before, Gary.
Mm-hmm.
You said the same thing you said earlier. You're like, people are living in their homes now longer, right? The average is 10 years. And now, right? And when I looked in Los Angeles, it's 18 years, dude. 18. That's
anything
crazy.
to do with 1%?
It's definitely nobody can afford to leave. It's like they're even more expensive here. So now when you were explaining this to me, I thought, man, this really gets to the homeowner where they're at. It meets them where they're at because the main problems in owning a home are MRI, right? Maintenance, repair, and improvements.
Mm-hmm.
And you're there for every single one of those things because you purposefully put us there. That's why I thought it was brilliant. Here's the question that everyone has, though. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, I was going to say, so if you're living in the area and then you're moving within the area, you're probably going to have your own. Maybe you have somebody that you've used for a few years, but our home services are kind of elevated because they come approved from us. So it's giving you the opportunity to essentially have access to our Angie's list. So you may have your own little list, but after a while, if you want that preferential VIP treatment, because in essence, you're just one person reaching out to the vendor that maybe you've used every 3 years or 5 years. Well, the vendors that we're actually becoming a big source of business for them. So it's incumbent upon them to make sure that my clients get treated well, because there's a two-way relationship here. We're sending them business, so we need to make sure they need to make sure that our clients are happy, because that's a reflection on us. And then if we get the feedback that I wasn't treated very well, that they all the things that can go wrong. There's always two sides to every story, but if you keep hearing the same story, then you realize, well, this something's changed here, and then you pull them out. So that's the ultimate sanction.
All right, question from Trisha and from a few other people here. Great question, Trisha. Okay. Is there a buy-in from the vendors? How does that work? How do you approach them?
So the approach the vendors. So the benefit for me is that, and I think this is what you'll find with most people, that you've been doing this for a long time. So we've had an approved roofer, an approved flooring, approved HVAC. So you've built that over time, but I was always of the opinion, I don't want to really monetize this per se. I want to be able to offer such a good service because that's where the retention comes in and that's where the value comes in. So the buy-in for me is to make sure that you're actually finding home services that want business. And if you can give them proof of concept, because now they're starting to get some clients from you, there's a point where they go, this is great. Because really, you got to remember that they're just like any other business. They're advertising, they're trying to generate people, they're trying to, how do they get to meet new clients, and that's what those welcome, I don't know if they still do them, where you get something in the mail, welcome to the neighborhood, and it's just junk mail kind of thing. What they want to do is get directly to our clients because we're providing a warm introduction and it's credible, because if they're approved by us, then that means that the client doesn't have to go through that whole process of vetoing, because they're relying on us to, yes, essentially, yeah. So to get the buy-in, I've never had any problems. Like the newest one that we just brought on into the process was because I moved into a new house and I saw somebody that was advertising for doing window tinting for the home, not for your car. And I knew that the new house, the bedroom at the back, is going to get sun on it all day long. So I wanted to make sure that we could put some tint on there, because I know this, so it reduces the UV and it reduces the heat by, I don't know, something like 30 or 40%. So
you use them, and now they're part of the vendor list.
Yes.
I like that.
So in my mind, I'm always trying to think on.
That reminds me
what do you need?
Because hold on, let me see if I can pop it up here for everyone. This is, you just reminded me of something, and I think I'm going to give credit to you because I don't know when the hell I came up with this. Okay. But Gary, I think it's one of our conversations. So we've got this. Oh, no, that wasn't it. Here, let me share this. It is, where is it? Assess.
But why are you doing that? So when we're doing this, when you're finding new clients, new vendors, as it were, what you're doing is developing a relationship. Okay.
So it is. I remember now. It is because of you. It's one of the conversations we had. So these are the 6 reasons we reach out to our core clients and our past clients, right? One of them is easy. You just said it, man. Like if I'm reaching out to a core past client by text, because that's how I typically do it, I say, hey Tristan, I just used, in this case, instead of an electrician, you just use a window tinter, right? So it would be like, hey, Tristan, I just used a window tinter. They did such a great job. Listen, if you need one, let me know. And the conversation always turns to this. I don't need a window tinter, but do you have and then they'll tell you what they need.
So to follow up on that point is what I think in the past, if you have a team, small, large, or whatever, or in a brokerage, you have vendors, home services that come in and then they get 10 minutes to speak, and then they provide coffee and donuts, and they get up there and then you get to talk to them. So what I wanted to do was, instead of they come once every year, I want them to come to every meeting, and I want them to develop relationships with our other core vendors and home services, because there's synergy between home tinting and HVAC. So they're in the same kind of realm. Well, also you want in there, just thinking on windows, well, what else can you bring? Well, there's blinds, window treatments, window cleaning. So you start to build all these peripheral services where the actual owners of those companies start to talk to you. You're like the catalyst, because that's what I did. I said, hey, you need to talk to Gus, who's the owner of the HVAC company. You guys, there's got to be some synergy here. I don't know what it is. Maybe when somebody moves in, they get an opportunity to have a free HVAC assessment. And then maybe then part of that is to say, look, if you actually came in and applied some window tint here, because for example, my bedroom is going to be really hot. So if you apply that and in conjunction with reducing the heat, and then if you put the blinds in that automatically come down in the afternoon so there's ways that they can all interact and all support each other, and what that does is creates added value for everybody. So what we're looking at.
You put everyone that you work with right here, right? Just so people kind of can get a glimpse of who they are before they have.
That's some of them, yeah. That's like so we got different levels of vendors, because there's different ways through the co-marketing. You got different levels of access, because also we're going to put you on the website. We're going to also do some subliminal marketing on the property details page where there's rotations of those. So it's there's different levels of, and then to get into coming into the team meetings, that's obviously the primary ones. So because what I do is then it's kind of like speaking
in person or through like Zoom. How do you bring them into the team meetings?
Oh, in person.
Cool.
So just think about it. If you don't have a team, but if you have a team, you probably get together. All right, let's everybody meet at 9 o'clock. Typically, realtors are kind of running a little bit late, but we always say get there about 8:30. There's coffee and donuts. There's somebody's going to provide breakfast. It's a great way to meet your other team members. So it's a social thing, right? But that's where I bring in the vendors, and then that's kind of like the speed dating. Because I will say, hey, Tristan, come over here. I want you to meet so-and-so. That's one of the agents. If you're the home services vendor. And then the idea is somebody will have had a success, and somebody will, hey, Tristan, I want you to meet so-and-so. This is the company that Michelle was using. They did great. So it's back to building relationships, because when an agent goes out and they're showing, they want to be able to show their added value by having knowledge that not everybody has. Say, well, when somebody looks at something and goes, well, those gutters look a little, no, we have a guy. That's part of our homes intel. So you'd be a VIP client. So we could have somebody out there that will take care of that.
Well, that's what brings it all together, man. It's just going, just like I said, as we move closer to becoming like the Jetsons, it's the people that function like the Flintstones that are going to win these relationships, right? You remember the Jetsons?
Well, oh yeah. And that's the thing that I think, Barry was talking about, all the AI stuff. That I think people will realize there's value to all that, but that's just a conduit to get to personal relationships. And then you have to have the value adds that's going to separate you from everybody else.
That's so true. Gary?
So co-marketing, that's where you've got to kind of start thinking ahead, because you got to start thinking outside of the box for developing different revenue streams as real estate changes and moves, and
yes,
who knows what's happening in the next year. But when you're actually going out there and having to show the value, what you're providing to your clients, this just becomes another little arrow, part of your arsenal of reasons, because you've got the knowledge, you've got the connections, you've got all. It's not just when you move in, it's after you move in. We don't just see you, we're done, talk to us in 10 years when you move again. You want to stay in front of that client, which helps with retention. And so that's the good thing about My Homes Intel. As a client closes on the house with one of the agents on the team, it's not me that's in front of it, it's the agent. So the agent is maintaining that relationship, and that's what's developing And for us, that helps with our team to see the value of staying with the team, because we're providing value not only to the clients, but to the agents, and to the agents to actually retain their clients, which benefits us all, basically. And we've got to the point where the clients, the home services vendors, are trying to figure out ways, how do they import their database into our database, so they can be part of the drip. Yeah. So that tells you when things are going well.
Wait, now you tell me this? That's pretty big.
I mentioned it before, surely. But yeah, so our HVAC guy, just for example, has 6,000 clients in his database. Obviously, we have worked with all of those, but he wants to bring them into the database so we can start dripping on those clients, because that's obviously he's going to be the preferred vendor there. But it keeps him in front of his clients.
That's a big hack, bud. That's a massive hack.
Yeah. And then as your home services, as they see the value of more and more clients coming in, it just strengthens that relationship. And at that point, do they give a bigger discount to your clients, or they just, there's ways that we can all add value. So one of the things this is a relatively new thing. So we're all brainstorming. Because again, when you meet clients, you want to be able to offer something. So even as closing gifts, you can buy, the agent can buy or give a gift of, I'm just thinking out loud, you get your HVAC tune up, you get a quote for installing blinds with $75 off, you get a quote for putting window film, I don't know, and then you get throw into that lawn service once a month, and you get 1 month free, and you get this little package for the new homeowner. And then start tying that in with all the peripheral things that you can, your brain will start working overtime. Oh, I need to get Comcast. So we have Comcast here. So whatever your cable provider is there some way that you can leverage what you're doing here to be able to make sure that your clients get either preferential treatment, or they get some kind of discount, or some value add?
Something good. Here,
you're the cause of, basically.
I want to, so we were trying this earlier, before we talked to you, I think it was early last year, maybe a year and a half ago. We were trying to do this, and maybe you can take it further, because last time you came into the group coaching session, we were kind of brainstorming a lot with everybody there. When we close a transaction, we had a home inspector go through after. So it's closed, Gary. Congratulations. Hey, listen, what time do you have? I know you're going to be packed with moving and everything in about 2 weeks for our home inspector, our concierge, to go through your home and kind of show you all the important things, just in case things break. You already know where the electrical box is, how to shut that off, water main, right? Just those 5 to 6 things, right? And I think I can fit this into what you're doing here, man. This is good.
Right. And so what you can also do, again, brainstorming here, is that you can get together with all the home services and then put together everybody on a monthly plan, or it's a monthly service. So, and part of that is they get a free checkup, or a free something, or you get a house cleaning. Yeah.
A free HVAC check in March or April before the summertime. All right, Gary, you're giving me some ideas. Let me go to the audience. Guys,
when you come up with them and formalize them, make sure you send them back to me so I can.
Yeah, I know. We're brainstorming together. We're brainstorming together. What did you learn from Gary? What's the one thing that stood out? What did you love? Because we're going to pick another one, and we're going to give away the book, Real Estate Prospecting. I'll sign it, send it over to you. Gary, I didn't realize that you already have one. I'll send you another one. Gary, I didn't realize that you have a live puppy dog on your right. I didn't know that. I didn't know that was alive. I didn't even know what that was. That's crazy.
Can you see that? It says the Ashton pups. Anyway, yeah. So
I like that.
the good thing is the doorbell hasn't rung, because as soon as that does, then it's
Listen, we're winning
so far.
Gary.
So, and I'll tell you, here's another example of me. I just moved into a new house. Before we had this session today, because I think I told you I moved in and only recently got all my studio set back up.
Yep.
Kept tripping. There was something tripping. So I had to call an electrician out to come and fix what the heck was tripping. So I had it in my preferred vendor list for him to come out and fix it.
Dude, I like
So,
that.
I mean, it's always going to happen, right? Even with new construction, with anything. So
True.
I'm living proof that you actually do need to have all these.
I have so
And I live
much
here.
I know, man. I'm saying I have so much stuff to fix in my house. I don't even want to think about it. Gary, thank you so much. Yes, Gary's part of our group coaching, so we do bring him in there as well. We mastermind with you there. Jump in. Gary, thank you so much, man. Where do people find you? They just go to Google and type in the most amazing agent in Tennessee. Is that what they type?
Just so GaryAshton.com, or just Google Gary Ashton. NashvilleRealEstate.com, co-marketing.com would start to do stuff there. That's probably and that will give you some insights into what we're doing with developing that program with I always say milestones. It's homeowner.ai, but
homeowner AI. Yeah, I like it. Gary, thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. And we're gonna have our next guest. I appreciate this, Gary.
Ciao.
Much. All right. That was awesome. I got some ideas that I wrote down. Just the fact that he brought up kind of having a package that goes out at the closing. I was like, that's different. Emily.
Hi, my friend. How are you? So nice to see you. It hasn't been a while. I have to tell you, before we get started, I really laughed when I saw the title of today's event, the Throttle Your Team, because maybe it's where we're all living. Like, whether you're a team leader or like maybe you want to throttle your own team leader if you're on a team. But I literally giggled. I was like, yes, I'd like to throttle a few people into like productivity or using systems or so. Anyway, I gotta have a giggle about that when I saw the title come through. But I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me today.
Well, I'm glad we made you laugh, because we were laughing when we made it too. We're like, oh, this is interesting. This is good.
That's awesome.
I like it. All right.
Well,
Emily,
yeah.
Quick intro. Let us know what you do, what you cover, how long you've been doing this, just so people can engage.
Yeah, no, I'd be happy to. So I'll get into that in just a quick second if you don't mind, but I just want to tell you, like, today there's been some really great content already shared. I've taken a lot of notes. I logged in ahead of being in on this Zoom as a consumer, just so I could listen into the brilliance. And so I want to say to those of you that are listening in, if you find yourself with a team that's like humming along and doing everything they're supposed to do, or you're on the other side of that and you're leading a team that's like hanging on by a thread right now, and you're grinding and just trying to make it work, I really hope that what you can take from this part of our session today is some practical ideas for how to shape your culture, how to define who you are, and how you are going to do business in this next season. Because ultimately, I really believe that knowing the answer to those questions is going to allow you to grow. I think it sets the bar for what can be tolerated on a team in any area, and it will let you make good choices about where your team is going, who you're hiring, who you're bringing into your environment. Because ultimately, when you hire to your team, it really matters greatly about how you're building towards something together. So I wanted to start today with that, and then I'll give you the lens, which is what Tristan asked for, of just telling you who I am. So I'm Emily Smith. I'm the COO of Wemert Group Realty in Orlando, Florida. And I've personally been with the team for about 9 years, a little over. We are an independent brokerage that works as a true team. And I saw some questions in the chat earlier about what does that mean? What's a team? Like, what does that mean? And so for us, I'll get into that just a little bit later. So if you hang tight with me, I'll explain how that works for us. But in the last 2 years, our brokerage has served about 1,500 families for over $750 million in real estate. We are super jealous of you California agents or people in New York City who have like crazy, amazing price points because we have to grind it out. Yeah, well, but some of us are grinding it out, trying to get to that, 1,500 families. So at Wemert Group, this is the thing I'm like most proud of. We have 34 team members who have been a part of our 80 team member team for over 5 years. And there are literally no words to describe how honored we are that our team members place their trust and stay. They are the heartbeat behind what we do. And you'll hear that throughout what I'm talking about today, because we are nothing without our teammates that stay with us and build with us. We are also a rainmaking team, and so we utilize paid lead sources, and it's important for me to share that with you so you kind of understand how we're structured. But 50% of our business last year was directly attributed to repeat clients or referrals. So our big goal when an agent joins the team is to help them learn how to build a sustainable business and a really, really great referral network, but while also helping them build. So if they need a paid lead source or they need a lead to fill that pipeline in the meantime while they're building, we want to be able to provide that to them. And so that's a bit about how the business is structured. I personally serve and work alongside our two owners, Mike and Jenny Wemert. I am so biased, but they are literally the most wonderful, humble, smart, capable people maybe on the planet. I don't know. Jenny in particular is like my person outside of my spouse, and she's been in real estate for coming up on 25 years. The team's been around for 16, and then we've been an independent brokerage for about 7. And I share that with you. I heard Tristan say earlier he's been in this for the short time of 20 years. I thought that was kind of brilliant. He said it that way. But everything in our Wemert world has been built over time. So often, I think we hop onto these webinars and we hear people talk and we're like, oh, I could never get there, or oh, I could never serve, 1,500 families in 2 years, or I could never build, that network piece like Gary Ashton was just talking about with vendors. And the truth is, it just takes one step at a time, and you find yourself building that next piece or duct taping that next hole. And then all of a sudden you have some really amazing things built, and you look back and you're like, how on earth did we do this? Time and effort. So I don't know about you, Tristan, but for us, it's like countless hours, sleepless nights, all the problem solving, all the duct tape. Like that's how it gets done, right? Like that's how you run a successful team. Yes. I think time is the biggest element. So I'd also, and I think in this market in particular, or this season, since I know real estate's a little tricky right now, it's also the necessity of making changes when you need to. So being willing to pivot, being willing to shift as the market is changing, or as new technology shows up, like crypto showed up a few years ago and we were all like, shoot, do we need to know how to sell real estate using crypto yet? Or you name it, right? Things change and you have to be willing to pivot and make those changes when necessary. The other piece of that is understanding that you're working with real people. These are real people, staff, agents, VAs, you name it, that are trusting you and their lives.
Hey, so when is it? The 18th?
Let me grab Gary.
When's the event? Good. Oh, no, you're talking about.
Let me.
Yeah, you're good. Gary's a busy man, we know. So no big deal.
I love Gary.
Me too, actually. So actually, funny story real quick about Gary. I was lucky to be at a dinner with a few folks from Wailopa. I think Barry may have been at that dinner too. And Gary Ashton was at the table. And he was messing with poor Howard the whole time, and Howard didn't know it was him. And it was just Jenny and I were like sitting in the corner giggling at Gary for, messing with our poor host the whole time. So yes. Anyway, so going backwards, in order to run a successful team, it takes time, willingness to make changes, but also remembering you're working with real people and they are trusting you with not like this is their life, and they're, you are being entrusted with how they can support their family and their dreams. And then they're in turn, obviously working with clients who are trusting us and them with their biggest investment purchase or sale. So I want to take us back kind of all the way to the beginning. I know that was a lot, but can you define who you are and how you do business? Tristan started this webinar this morning with some amazing content. So if you missed it, this would be my plug-in to go back and actually listen to his charge of what it means to be a great leader. He also asked early on, what are some of the stressors for team leaders? And I watched the chat like light up with all kinds of things. And people were saying systems like agent accountability, onboarding, consistency. And there were so many things. And I just want to encourage you, if you're a leader and you were watching that list like I was going, yep, and you're feeling like you're struggling with those things, you're not alone. Like even when you see some of like bigger teams or people that look very successful saying, we've got this all figured out, they don't, and we don't. Like we don't have all the answers. And so please know you're not alone when you see those things show up in a chat. We are all struggling with those things, and we're all doing the best we can to, again, put some duct tape around it or plug a hole or figure out how to best bring those things back to the surface. But what I found in my seat is that having that solid foundation of who you are and how you're going to run your business is going to actually set the tone for managing all of those stressors and all of those moving pieces. And that's whether you're like putting staff in place or putting agents in place. You have to know those pieces in order to manage all of that. So today, in order to walk you through a little bit of our world, I want to open up our playbook and show you something that we use during our hiring process. And I'll live demonstrate the tool. Can I have sharing screen ability? Would that be great? Thank you.
Let me check
and I'm going to go ahead and do that now. But this is something we call our Team Life magazine. All right. And I'm going to rely on the team here to tell me if we can see that. I think so.
All good. I like it. I see it.
Awesome. So this is our Team Life magazine. And I want to walk you through each section of this and share with you why we've put this content in the book and how we think this kind of contributes to our successes. And for us, how it answers those two questions I kind of keep going back to here. So first, this lives on our website, on our career page. There's an inquiry form right underneath of it on our page that we ask every interested agent that wants to be a part of Wemert Group Realty to fill out. And typically I can tell if an agent reads this magazine based on the questions they ask in the hiring process. So there's that. But if you want to see what I'm sharing with you, you can actually go to our website. It's wemertgrouprealty.com/career. And it lives there all the time. So when we update this, that page gets updated right away. And I have agents all over the country that have reached out and asked about this over time because it's something different that not every team has. So our cover, which you're staring at right now, it's a little cheesy, like I'll admit, but these are real clients who have closed on this home. And what I want to draw your attention to is the welcome home sign in the yard. And keep in mind, this is used for agents or maybe future staff, folks that we're hiring that would want to come be a part of our team. And so what we're trying to do here is set a tone for what's important to us as a team, to find people that want to be in alignment with coming in and building like we do, to be able to answer those questions that I've referenced in the beginning of this. And so that welcome home sign in the yard is something that our agents take to every walkthrough and they put in the yard, and it just kind of helps create that excitement and kind of a real and genuine photo op for every buy-side closing. And so as a side note, this also provides really great photos for a closing post for social media for agents. It's not them sitting at a title company or with an attorney. It's them in their yard, excited, like the energy is palpable at walkthrough. And so it's a great time to take those photos. It's also a time to maybe share those photos back with the clients and say, hey, if you want to share this on your own social media page, you're giving them the way to do that, but you're also sneaking for us our website in there. So on the bottom of our welcome home sign, it says lovewemertgrouprealty.com. So if the neighbor sees the sign or if somebody on social media sees it, they can get back to us easily, but it feels more genuine. So just a little nugget there. But we also have these photos all over our office of our real clients holding these signs as a reminder that when you're in our space, we are privileged to help real people. These are real people. And as realtors, I believe that homeownership literally changes the trajectory of people's futures. So in this season, and especially when it's really hard, please do not forget that you and your team are changing lives. You are literally changing lives with what you do. And it's easy to lose sight of that when things are hard or frustrating. So this cover for me sets the stage for what is most important to our team, which is our clients, because without them, we really don't have a business. And then from here, when you open it, the first thing you're going to see is it says that we're local real estate experts. You see some of our badges and our stats and a note from Jenny. And what we're really aiming for here is credibility. We want agents looking to join our team to understand that they are walking into the middle of an already great story. And this is super important, there's room in our story for them to help us continue to create success. But coming into the team means coming into a brokerage that has a reputation of success already being built. So we're making sure that our earned badges are updated, or we're telling the story of our success in our numbers. The letter from Jenny to me is a way to give visibility to our team leader, because she is the heartbeat of the team. And so we honor also we want to honor the time someone's putting into looking at our team as an option when it comes to aligning their business with ours. We actually literally say in that paragraph, if you were to read it, that we understand that our brand and our way may not be a perfect fit for every agent reading the material. We are setting up expectations from the start in our materials that when we hire, our model may not be a fit for everyone who wants to be a part of it. And so using these pages, we're starting to set that stage for telling the who we are piece. It's our reputation. It's the expectation that we're looking for great fits, that not everyone can be a part, or maybe even will want to be a part of what we're creating. And so for us, ultimately, this leads us to be able then to talk about our culture. So I'm going to switch to this next page here for us.
Okay. Do you guys print this out digitally too, or no?
Yeah, we do. We have physical copies of this, like a real magazine in the office, and we can mail them out. People can stop in and get them. We give them out during interviews, or you can go to the website and get the digital version, or we can send it. If someone emails and says, I'm interested in talking to your company, we refer them out to the career page as a starting point.
That's cool.
Yeah, for me, it was, I was tired of explaining it. Honestly, Tristan, having to regurgitate this information over and over again, this gives us a landing place for all of the information to live together, so that it's easy for someone to look through and go, who are these guys? What are these guys about? Would I even want to join them in what they're building? And so that's why this was really built from the start. So you can see here, we're kind of a fun group. We love dressing up and having a theme for things. It's a part of kind of who we are and how we're built. And we believe culture is everything. And I know culture is a little bit of a buzzword, but we define that as our who. Who are we? If you've heard me speak on anything else, or I've been privileged to speak with Tristan a couple of times, or with Follow Up Boss, you've heard me talk about Wemates, so I won't spend a lot of time on it, but we call each other Wemates instead of teammates. I know it's a little silly, it's a little slick.
That's cute. I like that.
I like it too. And it's instead of teammates, because we're Wemert Group Realty. So if you have a W name, you could be Wemates too if you want, but we haven't copyrighted it, so you can have it. But the idea there is that we are a collective we. We are working towards a collective good. So it's we instead of I, and you can see it on your screen, but M is masters of our craft. We want to be accountable for our actions. We want to be teachable, elevate others, and we want to be the S as solution-based at all costs. And this is who we are as a team. It's a clear picture of who we are, and that's what we're aiming to show with these pages in this book. Sorry, Tristan, I interrupted. Do you have a question?
Yeah, does this change every quarter? How often do you guys publish? This is once a year?
This changes as it needs to be really honest with you. In the beginning, it was changing often because we were building it and trying to figure out what we needed in it. But now it's really changes as we need to change it. So I would say it gets looked at every time we make a hire, because we're thinking about, does this still align? Do we change anything? Or if something large changes in the brokerage, we're going to get to some of the other pages about expectations. If those shift, then this needs to shift too. So in the beginning, more pages. As of now, I wouldn't say as many. We try to put eyeballs on all of our printed materials, though, a couple times a year, and make sure that everything is still correct. Not just in these, but we have buyer seller books and a couple of other printed materials that we try to make sure are still right, because those are expensive. They're wrong to, get reprinted.
Yeah.
So anyway, this is what we're painting. We're painting that picture for a hire of who we are, and we're trying to define both for us and the person sitting at the table that we're interviewing on whether or not the brokerage is actually going to be that fit that I referenced earlier in Jenny's letter out of the gate. Do you want to be a master of your craft? Do you want to be accountable when things go wrong? Can you take ownership of that and work to fix it? Do you want to be a part of an environment where talking badly about other teammates or clients or co-op agents or vendor partners is tolerated? Or do you want to align with someone, that embodies all of these things that we're asking those that join our company to be? So we actually care about this so much. We use the next 3 pages in our book to kind of continue to illustrate this. And I'll show you that now. So we take time on these pages to show a deeper level of what do those letters mean to us. It's not just a quick little quip. It's this is how this plays out. And then we use the next few pages to tell a story that's been passed on for lots of years. A lot of you may have heard this actually, about an anthropologist who is studying the habits and the culture of this remote American tribe or African tribe. And it's such a great story. But in the story, the anthropologist, he puts this basket of fruit and he gathered in the middle of the town, and he gathers up all the kids and he tells them the first one to the fruit wins the fruit. And the children kind of surprise him in the story by sitting around the bowl all together, and they link arms and they share the fruit. And so Jenny's been using this story in our world for longer than I've been here. And I've been with her 9 years. So she's been telling this story now for at least over 9 years. But the idea is I am because we are Ubuntu. And so in real estate, we are building a reputation together. We are telling people, if you want to come be a part of what we're building, you are wanting to be defined by something like WeMates. You are wanting to be defined by this Ubuntu concept of I am because we are stronger together. And that's a choice. Some agents don't actually want to function that way. They want to be independent. They want to grow something on their own, and that's okay. But knowing who we are as a team helps us define those fits at the hiring table from both sides. We actually start to shift gears as we go into the next section of the book into that second question I was asking, which is, how do you do business? And that's where we start to talk about expectations for WeMate agent life on the team. And this is the page that probably shifts the most as we make changes, as the market shifts, or as we change things around expectations for meetings. But the idea here is that from the start, before they even join the team, we're clearly laying out for them what it is that we're requiring from them when they join the team. So there are no questions. And so when we develop these expectations as a team leader, we try to put ourselves in an agent's seat. And this is a mistake I feel like I see a lot of team leaders make, is they come out of an agent seat where they've never been in an agent seat, and they have a hard time remembering what it's like to be on the run in their car, managing portals and technology and all the things from their phones. And it gets really hard to remember how hard it is to live in an agent seat. So put yourself in their shoes and think about things in terms of fairness or adaptability or adoptability, or in wanting to make sure that you're calling people to a certain level of growth that actually makes sense or is attainable. Try to be fair about how you are asking or what you are asking of your teammates. So in our world, setting these expectations to attend team meetings or meet with leadership or being a part of certain events from the top, it tells them this is how we're going to accomplish who we want you to be here. This is how we're going to get there. And this is our expectation. And again, it's laid out from the start. So when they come to the hiring table, if they have questions about those things or if they disagree, it's a good time to talk about it before they come in and we start sharing life together a little more. On our next pages, we talk about being stronger together or running our branding together. And we use these next pages basically to make sure that we have a chance in telling those that are interested in joining us that we actually really care about our client experience, our systems, our marketing, we want that to stay top tier. but really that for us, all of these things work best when they're tied together, and that we're flying the same flag and branding ourselves together as Wemert Group Realty. So in our brokerage, I said earlier, we function as a true team. And this means you won't see agents who have their own branding or logos, which is different than some teams. And for us, we just believe it's confusing to the consumer. Sometimes when they see like too many names or too many logos, they don't know who they're getting or what's happening. And so for us, it's just become a part of our value set that we hire to people that feel like we do, and that they're okay being a part of a team, but branding to Wemert Group Realty. And I'll be honest, sometimes in the hiring process, I've sat with really incredibly talented agents who could have really done well on the team, but who had this vision of maybe like having their own logo or wanting to see their name in lights, so to speak. And that's more than we can give them in our model. And we know that it's defined here. And so in those cases, because we know who we are and how we're building, it's easier to say to that person, like, hey, you are amazing and I would love to have you here, but it can't be a fit because ultimately you're not going to be here happy long term, and we know it. So you do the right thing. And you do the right thing for the person sitting in front of you, and you make the introduction to a different brokerage, or you give them some ideas about other places that they could go, even if you know that they're going to be successful without you. And you just give, and because it's a part of who you are. As a WeMate, we do the right thing. We will elevate them. We will help them be solution oriented, even if they're not joining the team, because it's not a fit. And so I will admit, it's really hard to turn down talent sitting in front of you when it shows up. Even when you clearly can tell it's not a fit, it's hard as a team leader because we want to make it work, and we want to try to like carve out circles into, round peg, square hole. But you build trust with your own teammates who have already entrusted you when you say no to things that look like you're trying to fit something that doesn't fit. So don't be afraid to say no. The what for us continues. I'm sorry, I use my hands a lot. It's like I can't stop them. They just, I need to like sit on them sometimes, I think. But the what for us continues in the book with defining what our agents do and how much they're compensated for that work. And so as we turn the page here, you'll see that we show in our world that agents can work with both buyers or sellers, and we're defining what we expect from them from the start here. So yes, we want you to do follow-up. Yes, you are expected to actually prep for the calls that you're making. You are expected to attend photos or make weekly updates to a seller or attend closings. As silly as that stuff sounds, defining it from the start and then training to that list once an agent is hired so that the agent has clarity on their role at the brokerage, but also kind of from the start, they can see that we have expectations of professionalism. They can see that we have care in our processes and also in making sure that they continue their relationship after closing. It's right there. They can see it on the list, so they have clarity from their role or on their role from the start. And then we support that by real life training on the other side once they onboard onto the team. And I think that's big. I think a lot of teams promise a lot of things, and we're not promising here. We're saying this is who we expect you to be. On the other side of it, we are supporting so that they can become all they're meant to be to do those things. And that's our job as a team leader, is to give them the tools and give them the things that they need in order to bring them up to be the best kind of agent that they can be for themselves, for their clients, and for the teams. And then this leads us to splits. So I imagine this is probably the page that most agents reading our book actually care about. And that's a rightfully so. Like, this is how an agent feeds their family. This is how they fund their dreams. We know this, and this is incredibly important. And I also know that we could have, as a brokerage, the best technology, great systems, the most amazing support staff on the planet, which I'm very biased. We do. Also, side note, Tristan, you also have such an amazing support staff. I'm always so impressed at them. You mentioned in your session this morning that you look for people that lead with kindness, and that shows up in spades with the communication from your team. So kudos to you all on that. So just a side note.
Hey, that's super kind. I appreciate that. I have a question for you from the audience once you wrap.
No, yeah, because I'm just rattling. So of course, absolutely.
Oh, got it. Okay, Emily, it says, do you do weekly meetings also?
So we do monthly meetings, all team meetings. We used to do weekly meetings, and to be honest with you, it was too much for this time period in the team's life. As we've expanded to 80 team members, the team got so big, it was really hard for people to get back to the office. And we're serving like 114 zip codes in Orlando, so it's a little bit different of a market than maybe folks that have 2 zip codes or 3 zip codes. And so we just made the decision that we would ask everyone to come in once a month for an all team meeting. And we use those for training. They're 2 hours long. We try to maximize those things as much as possible. And we always bring in lunch after the meeting just to build relationships. So some people don't care about that. They don't stay for lunch. It's not important to them. But some of the people on the team that really need and want relationships, that's a place where they can build those and they can get to know others on the team by just staying after team meeting and having lunch. And we typically partner with a vendor partner on that. So the expense is shared, or they're picking it up, or we're helping. Like, it just depends. But that's a way to get that done. And I love that room after a team meeting. Like, just watching people get to know each other. And then when they ask each other for favors, or if somebody needs a door opened in a different zip code, they now have faces with names that they never had before. And so that lunch part is actually sometimes more valuable than the training that happens in the meeting, believe it or not. But we also offer them many what we call EDU classes, like education classes, during the month. And we always have what we call listing mastery meeting that happens on the opposite. Like, we do team meeting the second week of the month, and we do listing mastery on the 4th. And listing mastery is where we learn to speak data and marketing. And we teach agents how we how we help market their homes, how they can help market their properties themselves, how they can communicate with their sellers on how the seller can help partner with marketing that home. And we teach them about our processes, and we talk about homes that have smirches that are sitting too long. And we have all kinds of internal language around this stuff, but we talk data and we talk listings on a high level. That is attended, I would say, by like half the team. It's not required, but I learned the most in that meeting. And I have for the last 9 years. I've said that for 9 years now. That is the meeting where I feel like we really dig into the meat and potatoes behind what we do. And if you're a newer agent, that's always the meeting that I recommend that you really make sure you have on your calendar. And then EDUs are education opportunities around a whole lot of topics. Like right now, we're talking about what's going on in the current real estate world and helping agents with buyer broker agreements. We're problem solving things like, do you have a CPA? Are you a real business? Like, have you done the things you need to do on that side? Or maybe classes on hidden inventory and figuring out how to best service buyers. So those are typically based on what holes we're seeing, where we're trying to duct tape and teach people on the fly the things that they would need to know that we haven't been able to get into one of our regular meetings, or where the topic doesn't fit listings. So long answer, but that's kind of how we structure that calendar in order to provide that value for teammates. Yeah, thank you. All right, so to continue going with this, I know the splits are ridiculously important. And we know too that like we could have the best systems and staff, but if the splits aren't fair, the agents aren't staying. And that's just the truth. So we tried to, again, put ourselves in their shoes and try to figure out how to be fair to the agent and create still a very profitable model where we could keep the lights on. We can pay our staff really well, because that's also really important. And we could go the extra mile for our team. And so that's how we landed here. As a leadership team, we also have to really be paying attention to the cycle of business for our teammates. And what I mean by that is we have to be ready to hire agents when we see that we have too many leads sitting that aren't getting the attention that they need, or we have to be ready to hire staff ahead of hitting capacity with our current agents so that we have time to train them before it gets too busy. There's kind of a running joke in our world that if somebody's crying in the parking lot, we've waited too long to hire. It's terrible, but it's true. And so as a leader, my challenge to you today would be you have to know your people. You have to know what someone's on your team, know their goals. And if you don't know your people, you have to have somebody on your team that does. We work with humans. I said this earlier, but they will have things that pop in unexpectedly, like weddings or babies or graduation, right? Like, I mean, this is the stuff.
Right.
Like
The best.
Great. I don't know. My oldest graduated a few weeks ago, and we've been in it. Like it's way
Oh,
more
wow.
effort and time and energy than you would expect. And so
Yeah.
they're humans. Also unexpected. Our team has been dealing with health issues or like aging parents, or these are real things.
Mm.
So, or really honestly, agents just being 3 or 4 years in and burning out. And I'm sure every team is seeing that on some level. It's a hamster wheel. Sales is hard. So, as leaders, being mindful that your people are humans and not robots, and that most people get into this business for some sort of way to get time back in their life, which we kind of know is a joke once you get in it, but
Mhm.
you can. But so having like clear expectations and understanding their goals for the current season you're all in together is really important. At Wemert, we actually meet with our agents at the end of each year and when they come in to talk through their goals. So our agents set their own goals because for us, it never made sense to set those for them. If they're not interested in attaining it, like we've just realized that you can't motivate somebody to something that they aren't really personally motivated to. So we work with the agent to figure out what they need from the business. And I try to steer people away from talking about like, how many houses do you want to sell? How many families do you want to work with? It's not about that for me. It's about what they need to pay their bills. So we have a spreadsheet that we give them that lets them work backwards. So they can say, my goal is to make, pick a number, X amount of dollars. How many houses for each of these splits would I have to sell? And like at each commission rate, they can adjust it in order to make what I need, but it allows them to play with it and dream a little bit too and say, okay, I need this, but if I could really kill it this year, I could make this, or if I could just sell that one more house or work with that one more family, but it's working backwards off of what they need from the business, not necessarily some pie in the sky number that they think that they need. And so once we kind of know what their goals are, we can support them appropriately. You can encourage people if they're stretching towards something or struggling. But it also tells us as a brokerage if we are going to need to hire towards the end of the year to meet our own goals for the next year. So meeting with our teammates off the end of the year lets them get recentered. It pushes them to focus on their own business and where they're going for the following year, but it also puts us back in alignment with what those goals are. So I have agents that sometimes have done huge businesses and then they come in and they're like, I'm going to take 6 months off next year. And as a team leader, you're like, no, I watched somebody in the chat this morning actually say agents that come in and out of the business, like it's hard because it is, it's hard on the team leader when you're wanting things to be consistent. So knowing if you need to hire ahead of that because you're going to have a gap is only possible if you are meeting with your people and finding out what their goals really are. Just my 2 cents on that. This split, page 2, also leads us to really great conversations at the hiring table about what an agent needs from this business and about whether or not we can actually help them from the start make their goals. I've had some really great agents sit down that I think would be like a wonderful fit for the team. And then they have really unrealistic expectations about how much they're going to make from the start. And so it gives us a chance to be honest with them about our track record and what we've seen and what we know is possible. And then again, that spreadsheet kind of helps too, because it gives them real numbers to actually play with. So they can go, oh, you mean in order to make X amount of dollars, I have to sell an amount of houses that I'm not willing to do the work on that. And it sets that level of expectation for everyone right off the start. So asking what they need to make from the business has been a game changer on how to structure that conversation. And then being upfront with our splits and talking with them about why we've built them this way at the hiring table means less questions later when they turn in a file or they've worked with a family and they've finally gotten someone under contract and they're like, well, why isn't it this split or why isn't it that? Like taking the time to define that upfront means less confusion later for everyone else. So last 2 pages of the book, for those of you that are worrying that this is going to like go on forever, it won't, I promise. But this is defining, I could talk about this stuff all day. I love the people and the systems and how it all comes together is my jam. So it's easy for me to want to just keep sharing with you all. But these are our last 2 pages. And this for me defines for people the value of what they're receiving for the splits that we are offering. So what value is our team bringing to their business and to them? And so we list things out for them that we're giving them, but the most important part of this that I want to draw your attention to is the list of intangibles. Has an agent maybe thought about the fact that joining a team means like a proven reputation or track record or coverage for when they're out of town or leadership they can actually get a hold of? That's a note that you should be able to get a hold of as a leader. But have they thought about those things? Or even just like feeling less alone in the business? As silly as that sounds, like real estate can be very lonely for people. And that's where things like coaching programs or doing things and connecting back in order to keep yourself centered and growing matters. Those intangibles matter. So we show them that here. The lead gen piece, that's really important, and showing them that the team is in partnership with many other companies that generate leads. It's a bit of a hot button topic, I know, in our industry, but it's a way for someone looking at us from the start to see that this is a part of our model. And then they can make their own decisions about that, and they can ask questions about that. We're open books as much as we can be with them about all of that and about how it works and how that might or may not benefit their future business. And that is really important to us. And then lastly, we speak to our technology stack, because partially when you join our team, and this is again part of how we function, is that you are required to use our technology stack that we've developed, because that's the only way our systems and our staff can work effectively. And so agents can make some comparisons to what they're already using. They can ask questions about those things. The number of people I've sat down with at the hiring table that are like, I don't know, my people are still in my phone as a contact list, or I just have a spreadsheet. Like, all of that's okay when you're coming into a team that uses technology, if you're willing to put the work in to understand and like be a master of your craft and dive into using these new systems. But I will tell you, it's a lot, and we know it. So we talk about it up front. We talk about it at the hiring table. We're very transparent and clear about our expectations, because I don't want somebody coming into the team and going, I didn't realize you were going to make me use these portals or use this kind of technology. I've always used this other thing and I'm really connected to it, or I really love it. So being upfront from the start just sets that expectation for the person that you're hiring. And so I know we're running out of time, so I want to kind of wrap this by saying that I know at a glance, but this is how we show who we are as a team and how we run our business and what we expect. And sitting across from that person at a table, having all of this defined, makes it a lot easier for me or for us to figure out if that person is a fit for the team. We actually tell people in interviews that we want them to interview the team as much as we're interviewing them, because it's got to be a partnership. It has to be a true partnership for it, not just to work like short term, but for it to be a long-term investment in each other. And so as a brokerage, if I don't define the who and the how, like it's really hard for people to know if they can actually fit into your space. It's hard for them to know if they can abide by what you expect, because they don't know what you expect. They can't read your brain. And maybe like getting it down on paper is a good first step in helping people see. So again, like lots of other things that we could have talked about today, but if you're like, well, we haven't done any of this, this feels really challenging. Like, I don't even know where to start. Like, just start with like who you are as a leader. And if you're on a team, you're not the leader, you're a leader. I'm a firm believer that you can lead from whatever seat you're in, even if you don't have the title. So start with who you are, figure out who that is. Like, get a piece of paper today and just start scrawling. Like, who do I want to be? Who do I want to show up as in my business? And then look at your list and pick the like top 5 that mean the most to you on that list, and just go like show up as that. If you are on a team and you feel like you're already doing the personal leadership part well, do the same thing for your team. And if you've been with people for a while, invite them into the conversation and ask them, who are we as a team? And dream that up together, because that will help you begin to define who you are. And then as you begin to hire, you now have that clarity to say, okay, what am I holding people to here? Or, okay, we can't bring this person on because the team said this is who we are, and this person clearly doesn't align with who the team kind of said. So
Yeah.
those are kind of some practicals of where I'd start with all of this today. Especially when you're bringing people into this story that like is a middle, like us, we're bringing people into the middle of our story. And so it's important that they know where they're stepping into and why they're stepping into that. And so I'll leave you with this. I have people ask me all the time, like why people stay with our team for so long. Like having 34 teammates, I said this off the start, that have been here 5 years or more is crazy.
Yeah.
Like that's unheard of. And if you ask them all, they would give you different answers. But at the core of it, they stay because we have fair splits. They stay because they're given a lot of leverage and great technology and leadership that I think really cares about them. But they also stay because they're in alignment with who we are. They want to show up to the broader real estate space as we mates. They want to be masters of their craft. They want to be accountable for their actions. They want to be teachable. They want to elevate others. They want to be solution-based. They want to function as a we. That's why they stay. And having that who piece defined up front means they can trust that we're always going to build to that. And it means that there's always a seat at the table for them because they're wired to that too. So me to you, start with who you are and how you will do business, and let that be the clarity for you along the way as you build.
I love that. Emily, that was good. I love how you have that
A
all
lot.
in
Sorry.
Listen, we should do in the A Brilliant Tribe group coaching, we should do a session where you go through just the marketing aspect of what you have. That would be amazing.
I'd be
Let's
happy
see,
to do that. Yeah.
just the audience really quick. If you're going to jump into group coaching, what would you like Emily to talk about from that package? I wanted to see more on the marketing side as the next one.
Sure.
But what about you guys? What did you want to take a look at from what Emily's got? Emily, as soon as you popped it up, I sent that over to the team. I grabbed the link and I sent it over to the team. I'm like, guys, why didn't we do this?
Well, what's funny is we didn't have it either for a long time, right? I said this, I got tired of like typing the same emails or copy pasting from different things, or people would be like, well, what do you offer for your splits? And you're like, okay, well, I'm laying it out in this email, or I'm talking about it at a table. And I'm in a season in leadership where if I do something more than twice, I'm trying to stop and ask, should I document this? Should someone else be doing this? Like it's a new season for me. I'm a very independent personality. I like to hold on to things as long as possible, too long sometimes. So I'm learning to it's just part of it's part of it. So but I'm learning to stop and ask like, what of this should be documented so that it doesn't have to be repeated, so that it can be passed on, so that someone else can manage or send it out. And then with a team, I mean, we're talking about deep stuff. This is the stuff that your teammates or your staff should be able to actually articulate alongside of you. If you ask my teammates what we mates means, like, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think all of them could give you all of the acronym letters off the top of their heads. They know, they've heard it, they've read it. We talk about it all the time. They'd have to think about it because they don't live in it like I do. They don't sit at the hiring table a couple of times a week and interview people and talk about those concepts in the same way that I do. So you have to find creative ways to keep that culture building, who we are, what are we, in front of them all the time, so by calling them we mates, they know they're being called to a higher standard. They know, even if they don't remember that S stands for solution based on a daily basis, they know they're being called to a higher standard, and they know they agreed at the hiring table to being led to that standard. So if I need to call somebody in and say, hey, you're not being solution based, or hey, stop talking junk about the lender, I overheard, like, stop it. That's not who we are. Like, when you say, yes, I want to come be a we mate, you're saying, yes, you can do that. That's okay. That's a part of what they're agreeing to when they're hired.
That's good. I like that. Question, but first, Linda Moreno, Anthony Lara, and Bob Powell, go ahead and type in your questions. You can put them in the Q&A or in the chat. I see your hands raised. Or if you're just raising your hand, you're going to join group coaching. That's awesome. Asusena just put in the link there. Bree has a question for you, Emily.
Yep.
How do you handle an agent who's trying their best but still not hitting their numbers?
That's such a hard one. And that becomes more of like a one-to-one sit down. a hard look at how are you spending your time, and is your time being spent wisely, and trying to figure out, have they exhausted all of the resources that the team does provide? And what I mean by that is, if you're a lead generating team, like, are they taking advantage of the opportunities that they have? A lot of teams have ponds that agents can call through, or they have lists, or are they hosting open houses? Are they doing all of the things in their power to move the needle? And if the answer is yes, first of all, I don't believe it. But secondly, like, that's I'm just gonna put it out there. Like, typically there is a part of the needle that can be moved. Sometimes they just need somebody else to sit with them and sort through how they are spending their time. I had an agent once say to me, I'm so busy. I'm maximizing my time. And we talked about it. And she started tracking her actual work time on her phone. Like, she would stop and start a timer. And she called me at the end of the day and she's like, I'm actually really embarrassed. I felt so busy today, but when I looked at like the timer on my phone, I worked like 3 hours. And in my mind, I worked like a 15-hour day. But if I didn't calculate this time, and I realized I was, up talking to so-and-so during this time, and whatever it is, it was an eye-opening experiment for her, though, that the time she was spending wasn't maybe being spent wisely. So Bree, what I would do is meet with that agent and audit the time that they are spending on the activities, and then see if they're maximizing every opportunity in front of them. When's the last time they called their past clients and just checked in? When's the last time they checked in with, as silly as it sounds, even their next door neighbors? Like, are they building relationships in the spaces that they're in order to build pipeline business? And then what opportunities is the brokerage or the team bringing them that they could plug into on the other side of that? But how are they spending their time?
I like that. Track it. Good question, Bree. If you got any other questions, Emily, how do we get a hold of you?
So I'm on Facebook, Emily Tompkins Smith. Smith is pretty common, so Emily Tompkins Smith. And you're welcome to follow me, but really you're going to see pictures of my cute kids and my cats. So and the hubbies. So I would highly recommend instead that you follow Wemert Group Realty, both on Instagram. We're in all the places, Facebook, all the things. And you can track with us on how we do our social media and how we post our, just listeds and our just solds, and how we credit to our agents, because you're all agents. And so being able to learn from each other is important, and get ideas from each other. So follow Wemert Group Realty. If you care about my personal life, you're totally welcome to follow me on Instagram or Facebook at Emily Tompkins Smith too.
I like it. Thank you for doing this. I appreciate you, Emily.
Of course. I appreciate you bringing me on.
Thanks. All right, we've got 5 more minutes. Emily did an amazing job. Thank you for that. I wanted to quickly show you what we've got to offer, just in case you missed it. Wrapping up, the last thing, let me share my screen with you. This is specifically for teams and broker owners. So if you're a single agent, this is not for you. We have different coaching for you. So we call it visionaries. These are some of our coaches, and we bring in other people as well to come in and guide you, whether it's through marketing, onboarding, shifting, anything that teams and brokerages are doing. These are all agents that are practicing or part of the actual process of transacting. These are people that are actually doing it. That's the big difference. These are some of the other people that we bring on, some amazing friends of ours that have done great stuff. We talk about recruiting, retention, ROI. Those are the 3 R's that we really gravitate around. And we find that these 3 cover most of the things that most team leaders, brokers, and in fact, agents and mega agents worry about the most. So that's what we've got for you. Asusena, Trenton will put in the link. There's some examples of some of our shorter videos. And then we've got some testimonials up there. Look, at the end of the day, I want you to shift into becoming the team leader, becoming the team or the brokerage that you know you can be. A lot of the times we need help. We need guidance. We need the ability to shift, but we also need to be able to shift correctly. Not all paths lead to the promised land. And so what we've done is we're bringing in the people that have already achieved it, that are currently achieving, that are changing and shifting along the right paths to greatness. And we want to bring you into that. Hopefully you participate in this. It's a small group setting for team leaders and brokers. Any questions here as I wrap up? We're a tiny little bit over. Let's see what we've got. Great question, Bree. Let me go to Antonio. How do you see the future of brokerages, online or brick? Antonio, great question. It's going to be a combo. We're going to see the virtual brokerages that you're starting to see more of will eventually start getting some brick and mortars. We saw the same thing happen with Amazon, where they were all virtual and then they slowly started placing brick and mortars strategically throughout. And what did they do after? They bought Whole Foods, and those are already everywhere. So it's going to be a combination. You're never going to get rid of the brick and mortar, specifically in luxury areas. Those are necessary. And we're just watching it happen. It's a combo, 100% a combo. Great question, Antonio. Anybody else have a question? If not, going once, going twice. Oh, one more question. Karsha, do you recommend the coaching for new brokers? 100%. We go through things that all broker owners and team leaders need. And it's in a group setting, remember? So you get to witness and hear what other people are doing as well at different levels. So it's a beautiful thing. That's the reason I did the group setting. So jump in on that, Karsha. We would love to have you on. Thank you so much, everyone. This is recorded. We'll send everyone the recording. And if you're joining, we'll see you on the other side. Have an awesome Wednesday.